up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid.
I'm fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener.
Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm, because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
What up, though, people? It's Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all for choosing to kick off this day with the WUW Crew. It's supposed to be warming up this week. It's going to be a good time. And you know what? This weekend in Detroit kicked it off fabulously. It's your boy, Brandon Dent, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network, Flannel Sam. So many things here at Woodward Sports. Vet of the squad, vet of the network, Red Wings correspondent, co-host of Woodward Wings, now the perfect trifecta over there, by the way, with you guys, crushing it. And you know what? All sports lover, man. What a weekend for Detroit sports. Grand Prix to Tigers. And
yes.
Tigers chatter. Lions chatter.
Hey, absolutely. And you know what? Let's just we're going to introduce everybody, and we're going to talk about Grand Prix heavy in the first segment, but also just want to give you a taste of what we're going to touch on today in Detroit sports. One Mr. Frank Ragnow. Is there a little trouble in paradise? I know there's been some rumblings, lots of articles. We're going to give our take on that contract situation. We're going to talk about the Detroit Tigers because they win yet another series, a big road series over a team, a divisional opponent that was in the playoffs last year. And also, the Tiger Kings are putting up some numbers. Some may even say historic numbers.
Ooh.
More on that later.
I can't wait. And you know what got this weekend, that much more jazzed up than just what the Tigers were able to do to bounce back, because I know how we felt after the Guardians series, and we were like, shout out to Scoops for going out there and at least shutting the door on a sweep. But since then, as we've seen the Tigers do often after a little bit of adversity, they've been right back to being the best team in baseball, and they've done it by beating some good teams. We were like, hey, just get to these softballs on the schedule and that are sandwiched in between, a couple of these nice teams that I know earlier in the season, Major League Baseball was able to say that we think the Tigers are real because they're actually winning these types of games here. Losses here and there, sure, but series wins. Shout out to the Tigers for getting another one.
Absolutely. Shout out to the Tigers for getting another one. But we have to start the show with just all of our experiences downtown at the Detroit Grand Prix, because it was a phenomenal experience. Every single person in this room was there in some capacity. I had definitely the least footprint of everyone in here. So for most part in this segment, I am going to zip my lips and let everybody else talk. But I want to go ahead, Kool-Aid.
No, I was going to say before we throw it over to Justin, I just wanted to say shout out to him for leading point here as a reporter at the Detroit Grand Prix. He's actually done this for the previous couple years. But this year was a little bit different as we decided we wanted to be able to bring different elements for the entire weekend, including live coverage. And I thought that it was a good kickoff from socials to boots on the ground the entire weekend, including, Kvassier Chase, JB Smooth, all of the interns, everything. This I thought was awesome. And to see the reception on socials, to hear from some of the officials, to hear from Bobby, one of your highest officials there at the Detroit Grand Prix, behind the scenes making things work. That was overall awesome thing. And I wanted to shout out also Rachel Hotmeyer of CBS, one of their everything reporters, how we call you, like our Swiss Army knife over here, and JB. She's that at CBS, and she's been a part of some amazing runs here over the last 2 years. Since she's gotten here, Detroit has been on a spur, so it was cool to be able to interact with her, introduce her to the team, and she was able to tell us as well, man, you guys are crushing it. So shout out to her, shout out to the team. But Justin, I wanted to make sure I tipped the cap to you because you crushed this weekend, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I wouldn't have been able to do it with all the support I got from first and foremost Travis. Being able to work with someone like Travis, who me and him work closely together every single day. But when I'm in the field reporting, to have someone who is just so ride or die with me, I'm able and to create a good process. So shout out to Travis. And shout out to everyone in this room. Chase, JB, Ryan, Elena, all came down and just put in work. They came down. They kept shooting whatever they could just to not even knowing if it was useful because some of them didn't even know what IndyCar and how IndyCar worked and stuff. So it was just nice to have that drive by the team. And then my girlfriend Madison came down and did some videographer work, so that was nice of her. And then Spencer came down and crushed the fan content. Like he only showed up for a couple hours, but he's so effective. He's so great. So shout out to the whole team. But the experience was absolutely amazing. It is surreal watching the Grand Prix grow over the past 3 years. When I first went there was probably 10 media teams there, and like this year there was 20 to 30, and it was absolutely crazy. And it was just a step for me, in my opinion, and what Woodward can do for the Grand Prix. And I'm excited to see what we could do with it next year, because we were seeing all the other Radio Row, and they had live shows going on at some points throughout the day, so it'd be cool. And there were some live shows in Hart Plaza, so if next year I'm going to try to figure out a way to get us some live shows in Hart Plaza, or somewhere in the concourse where we can interact with some more fans and have some more interaction with the people, because I think that the more eyes that go on the Grand Prix, the more people want to come down. And it just moved to downtown Detroit 3 years ago, and I think it's just gaining momentum year after year, and it's just so cool to see the city just coming more and more alive and more receptive to an event like the Grand Prix.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday. Kid Kool-Aid and the other Kool-Aid jammers, they were out in full force, man, taking pictures from Hart Plaza to the Renson to where we even parked just by shout out to Just Smash It. Shout out to Just Smash It. If you haven't been there, go there. Shout out to Tasia and all their whole team. But where we were, you could see the cars zipping by, and it's like if you blink, you miss that mug. It was epic as we were driving up, and just to see their face light up, man, here in the Motor City. For me, raising a kid, it's like you hope that they take an interest to things that you like. You hope that they take an interest to things that unite us as Detroiters, Motor City people, Metro Detroiters and Michiganders, and to see them just absolutely. Even my daughter, man, she was just like, yo, this is pretty cool. We had to go find the earbuds. They were able to see the team for briefly, and then they just enjoyed the whole rest of the day. Like, you're right. What they did to make this a family-friendly event, what they did to make this a media-friendly event was epic, man. Like, walking the track. That was epic with y'all, man. Like, I was like, this is dope, man. Like, I know as a kid, my dad, I got to go to a couple of these on Belle Isle. I am so serious. This one was so awesome of an experience, man. I've never, you've never really experienced Detroit like that until you've actually gone to a Grand Prix event in the city. Second year now, right?
Third year. And it's great to see, because we were able to do the live broadcast with the cars shooting around the background, which was absolutely awesome. And it was so great to see JB and Chase really step up and in a racing series that they're not necessarily familiar with. They learned and were able to adapt over the whole weekend and really made that show great on Sunday. Shout out to JB. JB took Will Power to win the race, who ended up going from P9 to P2. A great call by him. Chase had some great calls as well in the NXT race. For me, I picked Kirkwood to have a good day but not to win. I took Pillow, which he ended up having a DNF, which was kind of brutal to watch. But Joseph Newgarden and Scott Dixon, two people who I thought would have a pretty solid day, also did. So to bring great coverage and to have great predictions from all three of us on a panel of a new show as well, it was just so awesome to see, and to have all the crew like truly take advantage of this opportunity. It was just so great to see. I was so happy. I was so proud of everyone, even though I was an anxious mess the whole weekend trying to make sure everyone was knowing what they needed to do and stuff like that. But it was such a great experience, and I'm so glad. My favorite experience with the Grand Prix for sure was with Woodward Sports. So I'm excited for another year next year where we're going to take it to the next level.
And Justin, where you definitely weren't an anxious mess when you were interviewing Kyle Kirkwood and Mr. Dan Skipper. Go ahead and play those JB Smooth for all of you who did not get to see it on our social media page. And then Justin will have you react to those experiences.
I'm here with Detroit Grand Prix champion Kyle Kirkwood. And Kyle, just tell me about that drive, third to first. I mean, it's got to feel amazing.
It was not an easy race whatsoever. And we were put on the back foot quite a few times. And fortunately, we were able to come home with the win. And we had to pass cars to make it happen. That was the name of the game here today. We had the right strategy and right positioning, but we also had to pass guys. And fortunately, we were able to get that done.
Were the amount of crashes and the amount of yellows and reds able to help you today, you think?
No. If anything, it probably hurt us. The final few yellows, especially the one on, I think it was lap 66 or 67, that one really hurt us. Then the red flag, I think that actually helped us. It didn't hurt us or help us, really. It was kind of a net neutral because we were really good at restarts, but we also had a commanding lead at that point in time. So it worked out either way. That one yellow, though, did really, really hurt us. So.
And then why is the post-race snack Haribo gummy bears? I got to know.
It's what they give me gummy bears after I won. I won at Long Beach. I had some gummy bears there. I just needed like something to eat, and I guess we're making it a tradition.
Justin Satawa with Woodward Sports. I'm here with Dan Skipper. Dan, how did you feel about the race atmosphere today at the Detroit Grand Prix?
It was great. Weather warmed up nicely. A lot of excitement. All the crash and stuff were a little scary, but cool to see the response and everything like that. It was a great race and had a lot of fun.
And don't you think the city really showed out? It looked extremely beautiful all weekend.
Yeah, it was great. It was fun, coming downtown, great weather. This time of year in Detroit, it's unbeatable.
And then you got anything cooked up this year? Any trick plays, 6 offensive lineman type deals for this year?
Well, if I let anyone know, it wouldn't be a trick play anymore, right?
That's a great point. Thank you so much for your time, Dan.
Appreciate you.
Look at my boy in the winner's circle. I told you, I was like, man, go up there. Let's get this content, man. And these guys were fearless the entire weekend. This was about you guys, especially the ones that have put in a lot of, work and time into the platforms like Fast and Loose with Kavasi and Chase, with JB and Kavasi. And I know it's relatively new, but there's a lot of work put in there. There's a lot of knowledge, and this is what you guys love. It's your passion. I can see it from just a racing standpoint, despite this one being IndyCar. And with Justin, I know that this is a passion of yours. This was one of the things that I know you showed me early on when you were talking about what you wanted to be. And to be able to see the walk-in interviews come back, that's something that I want to definitely see more of from you. But overall, the team crushed this weekend, and the numbers on socials were awesome. And the people that tapped into the show, thank you guys for tapping into the Grand Prix live stream. It was dope.
Yeah, it was an awesome weekend, and I just want to shout out Detroit Sports Media Association and Women in Press. Bobby Keys really hooked it up this weekend. He got me and JB into a garage on Saturday morning, the Pratt Miller Corvette garage for the IMSA cars. So that was awesome to have that behind-the-scenes look back into a real garage like that. And then Nolan Aller's team of the Indy NXT's Detroit native, his team opened it up for us, allowed us to create a bunch of good content with him, let us have a close-up on the helmet. He's a great guy. He used to play hockey. He's a hockey guy. Played 3 years of varsity hockey in high school, so that me and him were vibing out. But yeah, I'm gonna throw it over to these two. I've been yapping. And I just want to make sure that they get their chance to talk about their experience because they killed it as well.
Yeah, no, everybody. Yeah, no, like Justin, you were at the forefront of everything, so you get your chance to talk all you want and maybe even brag a little bit because you're rubbing shoulders with a lot of big names. But Fast and Loose was also down there. Shout out Chase Fast and JB Loose. And JB, you got a video yourself checking out some of the cars downtown if you want to play that.
Oh, yeah, definitely checking out some of the cars. So, hopefully you guys like it, although these were a little bit of my favorites. So, all right, this has to be my car right here. Hold on. I don't know what to do. I'm torn. I like them both.
Shout out to JB Smooth.
Justin, if you're not going to brag about yourself, I'm definitely going to brag about you, man. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you, my guy, were the man this whole entire weekend. You were the important person. You took over charge of, where we needed to be at, where we should be at to get good content, to see the majority of the race, to look down on all these cars and everything. I just want to congratulate you, man, and especially the interns as well, too. Alina, Ryan, Spinny for stopping by, coming through. everyone put in work. Me and Chase on the broadcast with you as well. I just want to give you your flowers, man, because I'm going to tell you right now, we would not have done this or not have been able to do this without your leadership and your guidance. So shout out to you, Justin, man, my guy.
Hey. That dude, Justin.
Absolutely. Hey,
thanks, guys. It means a ton. Seriously, I'm smiling ear to ear. Like JB said when I walked in, he thought I was going to take a day off today. But I love being with the crew. I love coming in every day. It's not work. It's a great time. And being down there, it hurt my hips, it hurt my back, it hurt my feet. But you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world. Being down there with you guys was amazing. And hopefully next year we can have a bigger turnout for Woodward Sports, and we can have like a fan meetup or something, and actually get some real Detroit sports fans down there and hang out to, collaborate with us. That'd be nice.
And shout out to Madison as well, too. The camera woman out there for Justin, man. Killing it as well. And before I throw it over to Chase, because I know he wants to talk a little bit too, but shout out to her, man. She was just crushing it as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really fun weekend. And I'm a little bummed that it's over. I know we get to look forward to going to MIS this weekend, though. I mean, last night it was probably like 10 o'clock, and JB and I were texting each other not only about the IndyCar, but while we're still watching the NASCAR race. So we're like we couldn't even get enough of the racing last night. By the time we had our other series that we like to watch, and it was a really fun time. Obviously, like Justin has been down there for 3 years, the whole time that the Grand Prix has been downtown Detroit, so he's familiar with the layout. He's been able to learn a lot, and for us being down there for the first time and being more new to IndyCar, I felt like it was a very awesome experience to get to kind of sit back, see the type of ways he attacked the weekend, and obviously like gives us a really good game plan for next weekend when we're down at MIS to hopefully come back next Monday with a lot of stuff, like really cool stuff for us to share with the rest of the audience. It was a really fun time, and there's a lot of people down there who we got to interact with, some of them just in passing, others that we were to get content with, and people who weren't familiar with racing, people who came down just because it seemed like something fun to do, other people who were there for specific drivers, had traveled far distances because they wanted to see their guy. Ryan and Alina, wasn't it you guys met a few people from Mexico who came all the way? Big fans of Pato O'Ward, who's currently second in the standing behind Justin's guy, Alex Pillow right now. So really fun weekend. I mean, obviously like Detroit's the Motor City, and to have all like the different cars here, the different manufacturers showcasing their performance and their power, really cool. And obviously to see like at least in some of the series, like some of those Detroit brands, and on Saturday get home, like Ford taking home a win too, was pretty sick.
It was absolutely dope. My grandfather worked at Ford, my dad worked at Chrysler, and then to the supplier game. So Motor City and being around that type of world is something that it's just always been a part of the childhood. To see it on this level was so epic, man. To see Detroit in the spotlight of muscle, of fast, of the crashes, of the chaos, and to see these people and their reaction. Shout out to Justin and to you guys, the relationships. I know he's built over a few years, the relationships you guys are starting with these racers too. To hear them talk about our city, to hear them talk about, this Fago stuff is awesome. Like, what the heck? Like, to hear them talk about the city being dope. Like, we sat at the table hearing people talk about, I've been to a couple of these games out here, and it's actually pretty lit now that these teams are winning. To hear that Detroit is resonating like that on some scale, and that people here have some role to play in that is awesome. You don't think people see the records being broken, the Jared Goff chants all over the place. It's an awesome time, but ultimately, just selfishly, a small part of me is ecstatic to see Woodward Sports expanding in this way. There was once upon a time where it might have been we have one or two reporters. And now we're in a situation to where we have multiple platforms, multiple reporters, and multiple people being able to really spread their wings and take flight in covering Detroit in so many new angles. That to me was what was epic. We've never done some of the things we've done now over the last couple months. Multiple broadcast streams at the same time with multiple things going on, and now this one we had multiple people in the field running the live at the Detroit Grand Prix. The entire weekend of content, it was just an epic time. So again, shout out to that dude Justin, the entire team, Fast and Loose in the building, Spinny, intern Ryan, intern Alina, Madison. There were so many people, man.
Shout out to Grim in the chat. They've been enthusiastic. Like they were like in the live chat yesterday, and then they're even today now. Like they definitely seem to be a big racing fan or just a fan of Detroit in general. So I want to shout out Grim just for being so enthusiastic about everything.
Yeah, and shout out to Fast and Loose and Justin for that live broadcast. You guys did a great job under under circumstances that I'm sure were thrilling but also distracting at the same time. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to Byrne, by the way, for the $5 super chat. Justin chilling in the bullpen. Hey, if he's chilling in the bullpen, he's Will Vest. I'll just say that. If he's in the bullpen, he's definitely Will Vest or Tommy Canley or Chase Lee. More on them later. Go ahead, Chase.
Thank you, Flannel.
That wife in Talladega Nights, like, she's not lying. You know, like, you hear the vibrations and you're driving by the time it's fun.
Jeez, come on.
Hey, it's all right. Everybody got to experience this a certain way.
And I see you, Justin from North Carolina. There's another Justin in the chat. He said, "We get cheerwine down here and it sucks." Trust me, I know. Trust me, I lived down there for a year and a half. After my wife, who's down there, we got married. I had to come back home and get Fagos. Had to get the Verners and bring that back down because cheerwine ain't it.
Hey,
I'm sorry for your pain, Justin.
Never had that, but Fago and Verners, love them both. But before we,
There's too many Verners haters.
no, I love Verners. I'm a big ginger ale person personally because it feels like I'm not even drinking pop. It's more of like medicinal. But
as I say, I associate ginger ale being sick.
Hey, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But intern Ryan was also down there. He was the one that filmed the interview with Kyle Kirkwood. Did you also film the Skipper one?
No, I unfortunately did not. Alina did. Shout out. Did not film the Dan Skipper one, but I filmed pretty much almost every walking and talking interview that Justin did besides on Saturday. But he did an amazing job with Satina Fertucci. That one was tough, and he did a perfect job. And please make sure you guys show love to that Kyle Kirkwood interview because Justin and I waited for like 30, 40 minutes just sitting there because longer than that. Kirkwood came out and had to do Zoom interviews. He did like 5 of them, and then he had to sign the hats, and then we had people, another group of interviewers walked and talked with him. But no, make sure you show love to that. But I just want to say that never a big car guy. I know my dad and my grandfather, massive car people. I personally am not. They used to take me to the auto show. Not a fan. And then Justin said, "You want to come to the Grand Prix?" I said, "Absolutely." And Justin was showing me the ropes, showing me what I should do, always alerted me on what to do, and it was awesome. But most importantly, it was great to see the city of Detroit in a national spotlight, and it was wonderful to see getting down to the paddock and seeing all the different racers, even from foaling event to the luncheon and then seeing practice, walking the track with all of you guys was an awesome experience. And I want to say it was awesome to meet all the fans as well. I met fans and interviewed fans from Mexico, from Spain, Virginia, Canada, Indianapolis, and even Grand Rapids, Brighton. So shout out to all and Macomb as well. So shout out to all the local Michiganders as well. And it was just awesome to see what everyone had to say about the city of Detroit. And everyone from out of state, out of the country, were like, man, Detroit's a special place. And it was just great to see the overall spotlight. And shout out to the whole team. I was unable to really watch the live stream of the show, but I heard it went well. But man, it was just an awesome weekend. Shout out to everyone.
Go ahead, Chase.
I was going to say, just like shout out to Kyle Kirkwood for still meeting up with you guys because we had another driver who we waited around a little bit for, and we're not going to name him, but we ended up kind of getting ditched. So that was a bit of a bummer, but I'm glad that you guys, even though you stuck around, it ended up paying off for you guys because that definitely kind of sucks when you're waiting around.
And speaking of interns showing out downtown, Ryan, obviously you did a great job. But another one of Justin's interns, Alina, got some fire fan content as well. And if you guys didn't get a chance to see it on social media, we are going to share that with you right now.
Wait, what was it? I'm sorry.
The fan content from Justin's
Alina.
intern, Alina. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, shout out to...
Hi everyone, it's Alina and I'm with Woodward Sports. Today we're here at the Detroit Grand Prix and we're going to be going around asking fans what their prediction for the race is going to be. Who am I here with today?
Hi, my name's Amy. My name's Elliot.
Who do you think is going to win the race today?
Do you know? Newgarden. I'm all about Colton Herta today, right from the pole.
There you go. Who do you guys think is going to win the race today?
Going number 7 for McLaren, baby. Let's go. Let's get that dub.
Yeah, I gotta agree, but I don't know. Colton Herta's looking pretty good. He's looking hot, dude. I don't know.
Who do you guys think is going to win the race today?
If I had to go with somebody, go with Pato O'Ward.
It's going to be Kyle Kirkwood at plus 500 odds.
Who do you guys think is going to win?
I'm taking Patty O'Ward for sure. He's going to fly around the track like a bald eagle.
I'm going to say the exact same thing.
And who do you think is going to win the race?
Hello.
Yeah, honestly, I'm hoping Power wins, but honestly, I feel like it's going to be like Paddle Order, Pillow.
Hey, shout out to the interns too. I want to be able to make sure that I say that and say that loud. What Woodward Sports is going to be, what it's about the chat family is, what you all are doing right now, and we got intern Noah in the building too, is helping us in big ways to be able to move forward. You guys saw there were other media there who were doing it the way that people like me and shout out to Corey Woods and Broder back in the day had to do it. It was just one of us, and we had a camera, we had the writing, we had everything to be able to see. That's why I was so happy to see. Like, man, everything is going on without a hitch right now. I can literally just sit, and I felt like Batman, bro, from Batman Beyond. I felt like Bruce. I was just sitting back in the command chair like, all right, Justin got this, the interns got this, Fast and Loose got this, Spinny, everybody was pros. And we absolutely crushed the event. So shout out to the interns, too. And I think we got the video of us walking on the track that we'll share. And then we got a TLB, some Ragnow chatter.
Yes.
Hey, it's that Grand Prix live, Detroit Grand Prix.
We're so ready. It's looking
Let's ride,
beautiful
boy.
down here.
Off the water, Rinson, intern Ryan, Cavassier Chase. It's looking beautiful down here, man. Walking on the track right now. Let's go.
The storm, right?
That was the calm before the storm, man. That was epic, man. It was epic. The luncheon, being down there with them and seeing their enthusiasm. Like, now I'm just all in on racing. Like, my kids, they were watching the streams. I didn't realize that they're tapping into some of the content and such. Like, they're telling me about stuff. They're like, Dad, we love Nolan's car. I'm like, man, tear in my eye. Shout out, man. Shout out. Fabulous job overall, man. Tip the cap again, and shout out to all of the Detroit Grand Prix officials and our guy Bobby. Shout out, man.
Hey, shout out to the Grand Prix and Woodward Sports' footprint down there. Everybody did an amazing job. Proud of every single one of yous. But speaking of someone that we are often proud of, we are all proud of Frank Ragnow, just for what he's done with the elite transition by me.
Elite transition.
We are proud of the work that Frank Ragnow has done with the Detroit Lions. However, there's been some reports that maybe he's not feeling too happy with his current contract. We're going to talk about it. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? Is it something the Lions could remedy? Is it just another challenge that good winning teams are going to have to face? We're going to answer all of those questions on the other side of the break. But first, the man of the hour, Justin, tell us about Mad Packs.
Let me tell you about Mad Packs. And Mad Packs dropped last week, so you know you got to go get your Mad Packs, and I'm here to tell you about it. Mad Packs is the hottest cannabis brand, and they are partnered with Sports. I can't read with these on. Products launching on May 30th, 2025, so that was last Thursday. Mad Packs is going to take your game to the next level. High Low is getting you high for the low, delivering top-tier quality at unbeatable prices. Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka. A live resin-infused tarantula. This one's the bomb. Blizzard Packs THCA Moon Rocks to hit like a blizzard, coming to select retailers on May 30th, 2025. Stay tuned with Woodward Sports for all the latest updates.
Feldman Chevrolet still has tariff-free inventory, so we're extending the Memorial Day sale. That means it's your last chance to get tariff-free pricing on your new Chevy. Get this 2025 Silverado for only $199 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for just $259 a month. But hurry, these low prices won't last. Don't miss your last chance to save big. The Memorial Day sale has been extended at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
The boys of summer are here, and Woodward Sports is all over the Motor City with the White Claw Tigers Tour. Come party with Woodward Sports, watch the Tigers, and sip on some White Claw all summer long. The best bars, big giveaways, live events, and a party that only Woodward Sports can throw. Ain't no party like a Woodward Sports party. Join us Friday, June 13th from 5 to 7 with the heavyweights at Nemo's in Corktown for the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and Ven Johnson.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
All right, Woodward sports fans, whether you're hitting the game or simply chilling at home, Jars Cannabis has you covered. Jars is home to Michigan's larger line of recreational cannabis products. 27 locations across the state, 9 alone in Metro Detroit, so there's always one close nearby you. But don't fear, because we live in Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, or Milan, Michigan. Stores are popping up your way very, very soon. If you don't have time to check out all the products in store, check them out online at jarscannabis.com or their Instagram at jars_life, because you know what? I know you want to get high.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to this Wake Up Woodward, and it's time to TLB. We won't delay that any further. Shout out again to the Detroit Grand Prix. What's more about Detroit and winning? Those Lions. And I know we're going to get to the Tigers, too, who picked up another big series win. But there is some chatter coming out of training camp, and it's dealing with contract stuff. And you know what? My mind instantly goes to Brad Holmes saying, maybe you guys don't see the needs, but sometimes we take players that we know will fill needs that will pop up at a certain time. And he referenced at a certain spot J-Mo. Now I'm wondering what role this draft this year is going to play in filling some of those needs potentially.
Yes, and because Frank Ragnow wasn't somebody that I think any of us counted on there being any dissatisfaction or any sort of chatter when it comes to him being unhappy with his contract. But when you really go into the details of his contract, I can't blame him in a lot of ways. And on a couple of days ago, after our show went on, of course, so we didn't get to discuss it at the time, there was a Sports Illustrated article. Such is life. A Sports Illustrated article that came out. One of many reports. It was by Christian Booher, in which it had a quote from friend of the network, Dave Burkett. And the quote goes as such. I believe that I have it, but if we don't, I will just read it. Ragnow, thank you, JB Smoove. Ragnow also is unhappy with the extension he signed in 2021 that made him the highest paid center in the NFL, Burkett wrote. He has 2 years left in his deal and is due to make $9.15 million this fall, which is underpaid, I would say. And just to give a couple of more details, though Ragnow was made the highest paid center in the league at the time of his deal, his contract now ranks 4th at his position in terms of average annual value, and he does not have any guaranteed money over the final 2 years of his current contract, which is NFL contracts are crazy, man, and that's just
no guarantee money over the final 2 years.
That's insane. Yeah, he's still under contract for 2 more years, and he remains one of the best in the league at his position, and was Pro Football Focus's highest graded run blocking center with a 90.9 grade in 2024. And Frank Ragnow has also been a second-team All-Pro the last 2 years. Was also a second-team All-Pro in 2020. We all, I think, would agree. If we want to put our homer glasses on, we would say that he's the best center in the league, but at absolute worst, he's the second best center after Creed Humphrey. But right now, Creed Humphrey has a higher average annual value than him. So does Cam Jurgens of the Philadelphia Eagles and Drew Dahlman of the Chicago Bears. And Frank Ragnow slots right in at 4th as currently constructed in terms of average annual value. But with this, also in conjunction with a little bit of maybe dissatisfaction Alex Anzalone has with his current contract. Kool-Aid, I got to ask you this.
Yes, sir.
Is this something or is this nothing? Are you worried? Are you still calm?
Well, it's not just in conjunction with Alex Anzalone. There's a big somebody not here right now also because of some of the similar type stuff of contracts. That's Darius Smith.
Yeah.
So it is a something. And we knew it was going to be a something. We just didn't know where it was going to come from. When you draft as well as he is, when you have the success as much as the Lions have, someone is going to get left out in the cold. And now I think we're coming up against that precipice. You know that you're going to pay Hutch. You know that you're going to pay Brian Branch. There's more people you're going to pay. You know you're going to pay Jahmyr Gibbs. Now there's a situation in a time where I do believe this is a something. How long until there's another name like David Montgomery? You know, this team, if they're going to continue to move forward, unless this cap space absolutely explodes, they got a lot of people they're going to have to pay. Now, before we thought that it was going to be a lot of the young players that we're going to have to effectively, hey, look, you can't keep all these drafted players. But, you know, this is an interesting one here. It is really because we understand how important Frank Ragnow is, but I also understand some of the sentiment of some of the people in the chat. May says, pay Frank. But I saw another one and I lost where it went because this is the other aspect of it where they say, isn't he on the verge of retirement?
Well, that's
so you got both ends of the spectrum with fans there. I think it's a something, but how much?
Well, that's Frank Ragnow is one of the most unique players in the NFL, in my opinion, and also there's no bigger warrior in all of probably professional sports than him because. Yes, Frank Ragnow has had a lot of injuries, but he also rarely misses games. The only season that he missed a lot of games was 2021, and that was due to his toe injury, which was turf toe, but he also ended up getting surgery for a torn plantar plate. But it's been far from the only injury he's suffered. He fractured his throat in 2020 and finished the effing game, which is insane, by the way. In 2023, Frank Ragnow, remember, only missed one game after having meniscus surgery, and then last season he partially tore his pec and basically continued playing and barely even missed a beat. So Frank Ragnow has been an absolute warrior, and not only has he has played at an elite level despite really never being healthy, which God, you really want to reward a guy like that. You really want to give him a contract that he's deserving of because $9.10 million is just not enough for him this year. But at the end of the day, you also worry about he's under contract for 2 more years. Do you really want to extend him? Is he going to play 4 or 5 more years? I don't necessarily know because at some point these are going to catch up to him. He's only 29, so he's going to be in his age 29 season this year. He's only in his 8th season, so presumably he could play a couple more years. But Frank Ragnow, it's not just, like with every player, it's not just as simple as, oh yeah, he's the best center in the league, pay him as such. Part of being great as a team is sometimes getting a lot of production out of underpaid players, and certainly we've gotten that out of players under their rookie contract, out of Alex Anzalone the last couple of years, out of Frank Ragnow, and unfortunately it's just another obstacle that the Lions and Brad Holmes have to try to deal with.
Isn't this the to even greater degree? I feel like for the offensive line, for the offensive line's sake, you want to be able to make this guy happy. You know, even if there's some middle ground that they can reach even before the season starts, because that to me is a little bit different when you start entering not just 2 years on his contract, it's 2 years with no guaranteed money. That to me is where I do believe that. Is there any middle ground there where the Detroit Lions and Frank Ragnow can begin? Just because you know that Frank right now is tearing up his body for the Detroit Lions. He's going to go out there, and I think Mitt May is one who said he goes out there and not just plays injured, but he plays at a high level, and that continuity is key. And I agree with that. You want to be able to make sure, because every time you lose somebody from that line, all of a sudden we're like, oh man, the run blocking is not as good. Oh man, Jared Goff, even if he's not getting sacked, we notice there's a little bit more of him having to do that little curl out of the pocket and throw it into the dirt of the people or throw it away, which he did a lot more last year. But I do agree with the essence of what Mitt May is saying. And I'm glad to see the chat. Vincent E. Ragnow deserves a pay raise. Vincent E. Lions hold all the leverage with Enzo. Expert Swamby, he put Frank, with the tough emojis, man. What up, though, with Detroit? Gunny Frank the Tank is as tough as they come. So our chat overall is saying, hey, listen, this is a guy that you want to make sure you could take care of. But I don't even know if that's even the question. I'm sure if Brad could pay and take care of everybody, he would. I would assume Frank is one of those guys that you do something for, though, before the season, especially with some of the other ones that have been sacrificed to this point. And I see John Henry in the chat. He says they negotiated that contract, and Ragnow agreed to it, not really knowing if he'd play those last 2 years. Now he looks like he wants to play still, so just guarantee at least this year.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of different ways that they can go about this. And Christian Buher, the same guy that wrote the original article, did come up with what he believes could be a solution. And in the case, and what Christian Buher wrote was that they extend him for 3 years, $48 million, which would make him the third highest paid. It still wouldn't give him the same average annual value as a Creed Humphrey and Cam Jurgens, who are both much younger, by the way, and guarantee him $32 million. So the next couple of years would be Frank Ragnow on a contract that he's probably not super happy with, but in the next 3, he would at least get $32 million out of it. But at the end of those now 5 years, which to me, it's kind of hard to imagine Frank Ragnow playing for 5 more years. Frank Ragnow would be 33. I have some doubts about whether a contract like that would be advantageous down the road, but you can also in the NFL, and I wasn't 100% sure about this, but I read some language on it to where the Lions, if they wanted to, they could renegotiate with Frank Ragnow right now. And I don't know if you got that, JB Smoove, just the contract renegotiations from the NFL's website, so we can kind of read this together and try to understand. Whoops, the last part of it got cut off. But the first renegotiation of a veteran contract can occur at any time, but any subsequent increase in salary during the original terms of the contract can only happen 12 months after the most recent negotiation. Teams can't renegotiate terms from any prior year of a contract after the final regular season game. Terms for the contract cannot be renegotiated. So it looks like the Lions could try to renegotiate the next couple of years right now, but it's something, unfortunately, that the Lions are going to have to deal with. We thought as fans that maybe it was just giving the guys on their rookie contracts bags, which they did with Kirby Joseph, and you think they're going to do with Hutch. They've obviously already done with Panay, Amon-Ra, Ali McNeil, and of course Jared Goff, who wasn't on his rookie contract, but they gave him a better contract for him. So that's not it, though. That's certainly not it, because it looks like Frank Ragnow, wants to get what he is worth. But unfortunately, if they were to do that for him and Alex Anzalone, although the next couple of years would be fine, the next year for Anzalone and the next couple of years for Frank Ragnow, they're not going to be necessarily cheap down the road, and then maybe you have to make some decisions about some other guys. I know the Lions are going to try to pay everybody, but having to pay Anzo and Frank, that might complicate things for some other guys. Maybe not. We shall see, but it's hurdles that great teams with great rosters have to overcome, and that's why every single year the Super Bowl window, you want to try to take advantage. And unfortunately, the Lions, for whatever reason, for whatever circumstances, were not able to do that the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I see you. What up, Doe, with Detroit Gunny, and shout out to all the other OGs in the chat, from Grim, Ed Catalius, Xavier D, Dante L. There's so many you people here supporting us, and we appreciate it. Smash that like button to further support, and share the stream if you can. But what up, though, with Detroit Gunny says Creed Humphrey makes $18 million a year, which is double of Frank's current salary. What is that middle ground? Because that's what I say. Like, I'm sure that there is some middle ground that both of them believe they have to reach, because him playing on half the salary of Humphrey and it being unguaranteed money for the final 2 years, that to me is a little concerning in a violent sport like this one, in which Frank's going to give you everything. That's the one thing that is never a question with Frank. In any negotiation, this. He's going to go out there and give you every single thing. But I just wonder how much injuries in the past, like if you're going to go out there and make sure Davenport is here, it would make sense to say, you know what, let's make sure that we can take care of Frank in some way, shape, or form too. I would happen to believe that Frank Ragnow plays a much vital and significant role on this offensive line. Yeah. And keep that. And I saw somebody earlier say, keep the trenches ugly. I absolutely love that.
Hey, and Frank Ragnow, and that's the most affectionate thing. He does keep the trenches ugly. Nobody can muck it up from the center position quite like Frank Ragnow. And just to clarify one thing, Frank Ragnow's average annual value is not the $9 million. So it's about like 13.5. And I guess with the way that they structured the contract, probably got all of his guaranteed money. That's why he's not making as much this year. So it doesn't make half of Creed Humphrey. But, you would like in a perfect world for Frank Ragnow's salary to be more in line with a Creed Humphrey. But at the end of the day, Creed Humphrey's younger. I think he's a little bit better right now, and the Chiefs have also won a couple of Super Bowls, so they don't have the organizational pressure that the Lions do. And Greg Rounds, 22 guys on the IR, that's not whatever reason. The reason I said whatever reason is because the previous year they were more healthy and they didn't get it done. The last year they certainly weren't healthy and didn't get it done. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It matters for sure. There's a lot of context that has to be involved in it, but the point I was trying to make is the more years you don't get it done, the more potential headaches you're going to have to deal with in the offseason. It looks like Brad Holmes and the Lions are trying to navigate some new waters. Have they navigated the waters that they've had to navigate brilliantly up to this point? Absolutely, but this is a whole different challenge. But Brad Holmes is up to it. I really believe that Brad Holmes is up to it, and he'll ultimately make the right decision.
That's what I was going to ask you, because you're right. This is probably the noisiest offseason for Brad Holmes. This is what we were talking about. He had passed kind of your first mark of rebuilding. He had passed the second mark of giving you a contender. The third mark is how long can he actually keep that window open, which is something he stood up on the podium and said, this is what we're here to do. Not just cute seasons, not just short-term success, even if we punch the ticket now, but long-term success and to keep this window going based on the system. And that, to me, is where I agree 100% with you. I do believe that he is up for it. And I wanted to ask you this, though, regardless of whatever decision he decides to make, and we know that, we're going to enjoy this season and the next, how comfortable are you with the foundation and with the things he's already done to this point, no matter which way it goes, with what this Lions team is going to be moving forward? Because I can tell you this, I'm very confident. I'm very comfortable. When you start to look at his drafts, on draft night sometimes, the ways that we react to it based on what we think are current needs, that's where I go back to Brad's clearly hedging his bets right now, clearly hedging his hands right now, clearly trying to make sure to, in certain regards, you see the Ratledge pick, and you see what he did, along that defensive line with Tyleik Williams. In the interior, that's where I'm like, you know what? He's hedging his bets. So we want that edge so bad, but if you're thinking long-term, if you're thinking right now, I do believe that he did a lot to make sure that these noises can have as minimal impact negatively as possible.
Yeah, this is tough. And one more comment that I want to get to. It's from Frank Ragnow. I mean, no, it's from Eric Allen about Frank Ragnow, and I can't see it, but I remember what you said. 33 is not old for an offensive lineman, for interior offensive lineman. I'm talking about Frank Ragnow with the toe problems that he's going to have to deal with, playing a season on a torn meniscus, playing a season on a partially torn pec. That's the type of attrition that wears on certain NFL players. Would I put it past Frank Ragnow to play throughout his age 33 year if they were to extend him 3 years, 48? Would I put it past him? No, not necessarily, but it's certainly a lot to ask. But I think right now, just to give where I really stand on this, because I'm trying to do as good of a job as I can as presenting both sides. Yeah. I think you have to try to make Frank Ragnow happy. I'm not saying do anything reckless, give him an extension in which he's paid more than Creed Humphrey. I would not do that, for the record. But at the end of the day, if there's a way that you can renegotiate, give him something in the next couple of years that isn't him playing on no guaranteed money, or even an extension, I'd prefer a 2-year extension, but maybe that's not realistic. I think you do everything in your power to retain Frank Ragnow, because the Lions need him. Mm-hmm. To me, he's one of their non-negotiables. I'm not in the business of being like, oh, they drafted Tate Ratledge, he's going to be the center of the future, let's just groom him right now. Lions are trying to win a Super Bowl. To me, on the offensive line, you can maybe replace Decker. Like, obviously, like the guards right now are a little not in flux, but not as set as the rest of the offensive line. But Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow are the ones that, to me, are going to lead this team to a Super Bowl. Those are going to be two of the greatest cogs. Those are really the two reasons why the Lions offensive line is, if not the best in the league, top 2, top 3 at worst, and the engine of this team. Make Frank Ragnow happy. Don't make him play on a contract these next couple of years that is just well below his market value. And I think at the end of the day, the Lions have proven that they value making their own players happy and retaining their own players, as opposed to signing huge contracts to free agents. I think ultimately something gets done. I really do. Because Frank Ragnow, he's not someone you can just replace with even a promising young player, or even, hey, put Graham Glasgow there. No, we want Frank Ragnow on this team in any way, shape, or form, aside from giving him something super reckless, which I don't think Brad Holmes would do anyway.
Yeah. Hey, Voice Trees, I'm about to throw it over to you, but Elle says, I hope Brad doesn't cave to these jerks. And I would assume that's Alex Anzalone and Frank Ragnow, two of your most important players on both sides of the ball. We know how important Alex Anzalone was, and if we didn't, we sure got a look into it. And it was amazing to see how the national people even said, hey, we see a difference in this defense with Alex Anzalone back. They're able to do some different things because of his IQ. Whatever people want to take away from him that he doesn't have, necessary end-to-end speed or coverage or this or that. There was a whole lot that these national broadcasts were pointing out, and we saw a difference in this defense being able to manufacture pressure without Hutch and a depleted defensive line, and it was largely because of the IQ of someone like Alexander Anzalone and the nastiness that he has. You corrected me brilliantly. Play through the whistle, not to a flag. That's what he does. So I said play to the whistle. Alexander Anzalone we know he's been one of the ones that's had the NFC North crying. And then from Frank Ragnow, I'm glad that you laid it out the way that you did and saved your take on it later, because I do believe that he is important. You see everything he plays through. And for me, I believe that Brad Holmes does a good job at creating competition without slighting other people on his team. I think that that's something that is vital when you're talking about pushing somebody. It's not just what you do for them contractually, but it's also what you do in that room. And when you're talking about what that next level is, as well as right now, I think you need, obviously, Frank Ragnow, but you also need everybody else on that offensive line, including those young players. And this is where you do have the perfect opportunity by making Frank that much more happy to give the best opportunity to all those young players to get any tutelage, any knowledge. And I think Frank would do this anyway, but I just believe to have that locker room in complete harmony while you're talking about bridging this thing that we haven't seen him do yet with the Lions, because this is the first time we're here. But you're trying to bridge this walk from one window to the next window without losing any and having any step back. I do believe the Lions are positioned for it, and I'm hoping that part of that recipe is, like you said, that phrase is right, make Frank Ragnow happy.
Yeah. Hey, he has put his body through hell to do what he's done and still play at an extremely high level. When it's all said and done, Frank Ragnow may be entering the Hall of Fame. I'll just say that. He's on that track right now. But JB Smoove, it sounded like you had some thoughts on this situation, so take it away.
No, I just agree with you as well, too. Don't, as what one of the chat listeners said as well, too, which I don't think Brad is going to do, don't sit here and let Anzo or Ragnow bully you into giving you like this huge contract extension, but be fair and come to them with a fair number that you can be happy with at the end of the day. As you said, Flannel, at least try to make him as happy as much as you can, because you don't know. Half of the people think that he's on the verge of retirement, and you really don't want to extend someone and give him that fully guaranteed money when, a year or two from now, it's like, no, I'm calling it quits. I'm in retirement as well, too. But also, as a Lions organization, stay in front of this, stay ahead of this, and do the best that you can, because in previous years it's always been about money and contract extensions. That's always put a bad name on this franchise and the owners as well too. Starting way back with Calvin Johnson, it was always about money, and then as of recently, the whole CJ thing, and from this previous season, Carlton Davis, who was someone who said he wanted to be here, but then at the same time they just didn't see it fit as well. So just stay out ahead of this, and just make them a fair offer. And if they choose to turn it down, hey, at least you try it.
I see Grim in the chat says it's going to be a long offseason. You know what's interesting? This is now the month of June, the second day of it. We have Lions football that will be on our TV in the next month. That's what's crazy. It feels like we have more time, but realistically, in a few months, we're going to be sitting here watching Detroit Lions preseason football. And us getting into the swing of things with watch parties and coverage and fan interaction, and the season's going to be upon us like that. We're going to blink and it's going to be here. And I do agree with this. Grammy put the popcorn emojis, 2 of them. I do agree with that. I do believe that some way or another, there's going to be some things that are resolved with Anzo, with Frank, with Zadarius. Obviously, we're going to get what the answers are sooner than I think a lot of people are expecting or thinking.
Yeah, and man, if you're asking me just really quick, and this isn't a shot at Anzo in any way, shape, or form, who's more imperative to get a deal done, I would definitely say it's Frank Ragnow for sure. I don't know. There's also the angle, and I don't want to elaborate on this too much, that if they were to give him an extension, Frank Ragnow would still be on an advantageous contract for the team, not necessarily for him for the next couple of years, and hopefully they can cash one in. Because at the end of the day, if Frank Ragnow is on an extension a couple of years from now for 3 more years after the Lions have already cashed one in, who cares at that point? We all know how we feel. That's why, and this is where I like to bring it back to this. This is why, one of the reasons why Creed Humphrey apart from being just a damn good center and, in my opinion, a little bit better and certainly younger and more healthy than a Frank, why his contract is just Chiefs and Chiefs fans are pretty just whatever about it is because the Chiefs have already cashed one in. Cam Jurgens is not worth the money that he's paid. I'll just say that. But the Eagles got a Super Bowl, so I don't think they really care too much. Let's make that happen, Lions. Let's win one in the next couple of years, and then if Ragnow's contract or his extension is a little expensive, who gives a damn? Because I'll tell you what, the Lions need Frank Ragnow. As I said before, they need him. If they are serious about their Super Bowl window, which they are, I think Frank Ragnow is somebody that has to be taken care of. Smartly, but even maybe a little not smartly. Not reckless, but just take care of Frank Ragnow, please.
Listen, man, Wheezy D313 is all over the place. Listen, if we ever thought that this was Stick's burner account, this is not. He says, this is all Jared Goff's fault, high key. I'm ready for a rookie quarterback deal. Wheezy! What? Come on, Wheezy.
He doesn't like Jared Goff. But no. I think Neil was pointing this out that at least for this year, like, there's no potential out for a Jared Goff. I think there might be one for 2 years from now. So if you really want to push that agenda,
come on, Weezy.
Yeah. If you really want to push that agenda, this year is not the year to do it. But I think there is a scenario where potentially they could get rid of him in a couple of years. Not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's when.
I hope nobody clips you saying that in the wrong light.
Oh God, yeah. Okay, no. Oh wow, it's actually after 2027. So the point is that Jared Goff's going to be your quarterback for at least 3 more years. No question about it, because getting rid of him would just leave you in dead cap hell. But if you want to have those discussions, then be my guest. Yeah. Hopefully by then the Lions will have a Super Bowl
and he's
cashed
talented
in.
enough. I know it's not necessarily a Jared Goff segment, but when you're talking about the offensive line, obviously naturally your mind goes there. And I do believe this. I believe that Jared Goff is enough for this team to win. We've seen him have one fabulous playoff run, and then we've seen him have one really bad playoff game at the wrong time. Yeah. And I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to this team hopefully being able to find some type of harmony heading into, not that they don't, but as it relates to the contract stuff that you hear from Anzo and Frank. You want to see those guys happy.
You do. You do, and I see it in the chat already. The Detroit, what up, Doe with Detroit Gutty? He said get rid of him. I saw.
Oh, Sam hates Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay. Obviously, I was just giving some context, but remember, guys, what I said afterwards was that he is going to be your quarterback for 3 more years. Because if you get rid of him before that, that is just a reckless decision that will leave. It won't even really help your cap. So, shout out to Jared Goff. And as Lions fans, we definitely need to get behind him and just hope that he gets it done for Detroit, because that's our hope right now. It just is what it is. Whether you like it or not, that's our hope. But speaking of things that give us a lot of hope, Detroit Tigers won another series. I want to talk about that, break the series down, maybe talk a little bit about the Tiger Kings a little while later. You guys know who the Tiger Kings are, but JB Smoove, tell us about merch.
Merch, because you know those Tigers won again, and you should head over to WoodwardSports.com right now, click on that shop tab, and get yourself some Woodward Tigers gear that you can rock down at Comerica Park right now. We still got the LFG Red Wings t-shirts and hoodies still available for you as well, and we're working on some hobby gear as well too, so be on the lookout for that as well too. But head over to WoodwardSports.com, click on that shop tab, and stay tapped in.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Big injury? Injuries? Big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Justice. It means different things to different people. But getting justice isn't just a legal process, it's a healing process. I'm Vez of you.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Planet Fitness, fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, fairly knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card Spa featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
What up, though, people? Welcome back to this Wake Up Woodward, and we got to talk about those other Jungle Cats, the Detroit Tigers, another one of those best teams. We know what the Lions are going to be. They're going to be one of those teams that hopefully national media wakes up to and understands is a Super Bowl contender, but in their division, nobody questions what they're going to be. And right now, the Detroit Tigers, they take another series win over another team in the AL. So we got on the White Claw Tigers Tour victory shades. Hey, look at that. It just popped up on the bottom bar so perfectly at the same time, too, because they take this one 1-0. And you know what? What are you when your offense isn't there? A darn good team, from the other side of the plate, from the mound. That's what I loved about this team. The offense disappeared. That is another form of adversity. This team still found a way to take 2 or 3, take another series. So it's time to update that graphic, that dude, Justin. And they had a good chance, a good opportunity to sweep. But it's interesting. It's not like they won this last game because the offense came back. They still scored on a wild pitch, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild, but I'll take the series win any way we can get it.
Well, and before we really dive in, I just want to put one disclaimer out there. Because the chatter after that 1-0 loss on Saturday, I thought was way out of line among certain people, particularly Riley Greene. But I'll let that go for now. But I'm not here to second-guess A.J. Hinch. I'm not here to crap on Bo Brisky. I'm not here to crap on Riley Greene for that bad throw or that 0 for 4. And I'm not here to do that with the lineup as well outside of Colt Keith. They lost a game. It happens. You hate it for Skubal because he pitched a gem, but at the end of the day, Tarek Skubal still going 7 innings, no earned runs, being dominant. That will go a long way in terms of helping his Cy Young case at the end of the year. When you go into Kansas City, a team that made the playoffs last year, a team that has an ace pitcher like Chris Bubich, a superstar player like a Bobby Witt Jr., you hope that you can go in and take 2 out of 3, and the Tigers did just that. So I'm going to accentuate the positives because it's baseball. Things happen, and it's weird, as we all know. Baseball is a funky sport because You're talking about how the Tigers' bats really did not show up in the last couple of games. They really haven't shown up in terms of the last 10 games, starting with the Guardian series. In the Tigers' last 10 games, they as a team have only scored 29 runs, which is not good at all, and it's well below their season pace. But let's start with Friday night, the one game where the bats did show up when they needed to, in a game where Casey Mize struggled. The Tigers' bats were great. Riley Greene, 2-run homer in the top of the first. Dylan Dingler, 2-run homer in the top of the second. Spencer Torkelson with an insurance home run in the top of the 8th. Hey, maybe 3 All-Stars right there, maybe 2, but love to see some of our big bats show up and really carry the Tigers to a win on Friday. Really the one game where their offense came alive.
Yeah, it was awesome to see this Tigers team win in such it's like another way. I now have a lot more confidence about the squad in a lot of different situations other than maybe giving Terry Skubal run support. That would be nice. That would be nice for a change. But at least he is the dominant pitcher that we know he is. That's not going to let up much. You just want to win a lot more than you lose those starts. But to see, like I said, this team show a lot of character and bouncing back again from that Guardian series and, during the break, you're like, man, 5-1 since then. And now they have a chance to fatten themselves up on the White Sox before – I told you the Flannel Bowl is right around the corner. Okay. We got Tigers. We got the Cubs. I mean, it's a good test, and it's going to be a good series against what I believe to be two, storied franchises with pretty cool logos at that. It's going to be a fun series when you get there, and this is where, push the button. This is one of those phrases that is going to continue to follow how at least I cover these teams. This is a handle your business series, obviously, against the White Sox, and you would love to see them obviously go out there and win the series, but make sure that there is no daylight for them at all. Find a way to maybe get those bats going before you get into the Cubs series. But again, there's a lot of moxie with this team, and you're right to put out there that the vibes have to be about good. When your team is finding a way, even in the fickle parts of baseball, to win games, no matter what's going on, that's where you have to just say, you know what, this is awesome. You got it, because what this team was last year was a lot of what Riley Greene and Terry Skubal and Kerry Bonds and that bullpen that started hot and finished hot did to really carry this team to new heights. What we're seeing this team do right now is Tarek and Riley Greene are still going to be those guys that are going to go out there and give you all-star effort, but we're seeing the rest of the team now take that necessary step forward, and it's bolstering them. So whether there's a slump or whether there's not, we're getting the best of the Detroit Tigers, period. And that, to me, is why I'm so comfortable no matter what scenario, no matter what situation the Tigers find themselves in. I do believe, oh, snap, they dropped the first game of a series. Nah, I know they're going to come back and take the next two. I got that much confidence in this team, and it has nothing to do with even good vibes or good mojo or Kool-Aid or this or that. It's everything to do with the people that are in charge and the people that they run out there on the field. Some of the best in the game, and they're definitely going to have more than 2 All-Stars this year.
Yeah, and Dante151 power stat. Bobby Witt Jr. went 2 for 12 in this series against the Tigers. Shout out to the Tigers pitching overall for really holding Bobby Witt Jr. in check. And quiet as kept, and I'm not here to really rag on Bobby Witt Jr., but by his standards, the standards being before the season being thought of as the prohibitive best player in the AL Central and probably being the second best player in the AL overall after Aaron Judge was second in the MVP race last year. By those standards, Bobby Witt's having a slightly disappointing for him season. He's still really good. He's still an all-star, but hey, I'm not crying any tears because ultimately if Bobby Witt were playing to the level he was last year, the Royals probably would have won a couple more games. But as they currently sit, they are 8 back, which love to see that. Love to see the Tigers pick up a game in this series and extend their lead over the Royals. 7 ahead of the Twins and 6 ahead of the Guardians. Still in a very, very advantageous position. But to get to Game 3, because Game 3 was an interesting one, because we talk about Friday, sometimes you got to win in different ways when it comes to baseball. Friday, it was about the bats. Sunday, it was about pitching, but it's not really quite simple because Kiter Montero, he ultimately didn't allow any runs, but there was a lot of traffic on them base paths. But shout out to Kiter Montero for being able to pitch the Tigers out of trouble multiple times. The bottom of the first, the Royals loaded the bases, and then Montero with a 2-out, and then Montero struck out the next batter.
Good old shaky but steady.
Absolutely. Bottom of the third, first and second, 1 out. Montero induces a double play. And then when Kiter Montero is taken out after allowing a double to Bobby Witt Jr. after 4 2/3, Tyler Holton finishes the inning. He goes scoreless, which love to see that. Man, if Tyler Holton can get it on track, this bullpen could be even more deadly than we think. And then the Tigers turned it over to Chase Lee, Tommy Kahnle, Will Vest. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Tommy Kahnle with his 8th hold, Will Vest with his 9th save. Chase Lee continues to be a revelation. So shout out to the Tigers pitching staff, particularly their bullpen, for being absolutely dominant on Sunday in a game where the bats really didn't give them much help. But they gave them all the help that they needed for that particular day because that bullpen was lights out.
Absolutely lights out. And it's what you're going to need. It's absolutely what you're going to need from this Tigers team to be able to keep this type of pace, too. It's I don't even understand what we're quite seeing from this Detroit Tigers team. They've been able to blow through all of our expectations in terms of their win pace right now. And they're doing it in ways that, some ways that we expected and other ways that obviously this team had a pulse on. And that, to me, is where I believe the Tigers have finally put that question to rest. That question of, well, can they keep this up? Can they keep this pace going? Well, what if this guy gets injured? But what if this guy goes on a slump? They've answered all those questions, and they've put that to bed. I'm fully entrenched with where this team is going, and I do believe that this is the time where, especially as you're approaching your hot months of summer, a time to realistically just enjoy what this Tigers team is doing. Not that there aren't going to be times when you look from game to game with some criticism and such, but I do believe this is a team that you can trust getting completely behind. I believe with the Tigers with the Lions we called it stoked, not scared. If we were to borrow that, that's where I am fully with this Detroit Tigers team. If I had to say where's my confidence level, it's 10 out of 10 with the Detroit Tigers right now.
Hey, and they've earned it. Best record in baseball. Just continue to win series after series after series, and that's really how you become a dominant team, which at least right now in this year's regular season, the Tigers are a dominant team. And also wanted to give a shout out yesterday. I know that the bats were relatively silent, but got to shout out one Mr. Riley Greene, to the shock of absolutely no one, because as a lot of people have pointed out, Riley Greene has struggled against lefties this year. It's well documented, and it's fair to at least say that he struggled against lefties. However, A.J. Hinch kept him in the lineup, facing one of the best lefties in the game right now in Chris Bubich, and Riley Greene got 2 hits off of him. And if Riley Greene can start getting it going against lefties, that would be absolutely huge, and that's really where he would take that proverbial next step, because even despite the struggles against lefties, his numbers throughout the season are still really damn good and all-star worthy. But the fact that Riley Greene was able to stand in there and get a couple of big hits against Chris Bubich, who's a legitimate Cy Young candidate this year, at least for now, absolutely huge. And shout out Chris Bubich as well, credit where credit is due. He pitched a hell of a game against the Tigers, really left a lot of Tigers hitters confused, but you know what? When he needed to not throw a wild pitch, he did. Shout out Zach McKinstry.
Yes, shout out to Zach McKinstry. And Stephen Baffy here to get the chat involved some more. AJ Hinch is a great manager. We are lucky to have him. Greg, 2025, Montero got Casey out with the bases loaded, was the winner. Yep. What up, though, with Detroit Gunny? These Detroit Tigers are playing like a true World Series contender, and they have been all season, and that's what I'm saying. There was a point in time in the season where we were like, wow, this is awesome. They've given themselves a cushion and a padding that they need to be able to, finish similarly to where they finished last year, or maybe even win this division this year. No, instead, this team from the beginning, what they showed us in the beginning of the season, over the first, month of the season, is that this is who they are. They're a real team. They are forced to be reckoned with. MLB.com and their writers and their panel, they saw it early. They said, you guys, you got to pay attention. And we covered it on the show as well. And it's awesome to see them continuing to keep up with the pace, because we keep talking about how fickle baseball is, and we see it. It's not like it had you right now, what you're dressed in is proof of the fickleness of baseball.
Yeah.
It's the proof. But this team has said we just don't care. This is showing how much of a team game baseball is in a sport that has a lot of individual aspects to it. But we see this team being able to go, and this means that these players, they've bought into the message completely. Whatever the hitting coaches, whatever the pitching coaches, whatever Hinch, whatever the message is amongst them as a team, they've completely bought in. All of them, from the young guys to the older guys, and this team is looking like a well-oiled machine. I don't know who wants to necessarily run into the Tigers right now, and this is what I'm hoping, because there's one team that I believe might live just a little bit in the back of their minds, and that's the Guardians. You want to see them have some success with them, and that's rightfully so.
Sure.
Rightfully so. But this team, it just seems like they have everything else figured out right now.
Hey, the Guardians seem to have the Tigers' numbers at least for now. But at least if the season continues the way that it's been continuing in a playoff series, as of right now, the Tigers would have home field, and they of course did not last year. But Justin, Tigers take 2 out of the 3 from Kansas City. How you feeling about that series? You satisfied? You wish they would have swept them? How are you feeling overall?
I mean, I'm never going to be a guy who complains about taking 2 or 3 in a baseball series. I mean, if you take 2 or 3 in every series, you're one of the best teams of all time. And that's where you have such a high clip of percentages that you're winning series at, where I'm happy we won another series, especially against a divisional opponent, get some more gap. I really like the way we won these games this week, and we really had to get down and dirty, and we really had to find ways to manufacture runs in a lot of different ways. I know that the run, one of the games, the pass ball, that really was the only production of scoring. Like, that's what good teams do. They find ways to win, and they find ways to score runs in unorthodox ways, and that's exactly what the Tigers did this weekend, and you can't be mad at it. If they continue to win series of 2 out of 3 out of 2 out of 3, they're going to continue to keep this pace. That's going to be tough for anyone in the rest of the AL Central to compete with. So I feel extremely comfortable with the weekend we had.
Hey, shout out, and I agree 100%. Chase, Tigers took 2 out of 3 from the Royals. Are you happy about that? Wish they would have swept, or just feeling the good vibes and happy about a series win? How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not upset that they only won 2 out of 3. Like, you win this series, like Justin was saying too. Like, you keep doing that. Like, that's all you can ask for. They're bouncing back. You know, we obviously, like I said, we got 1 out of 4 against Cleveland. Well, it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't ideal. They bounced back. They've swept the Giants. They've won 5 out of their last 6. You know, hopefully they can make it 9 out of their last 10 with these 3 or 4 games they have against the White Sox. They're not very good either. So, I mean, I think this team, you know, although they had one bad weekend, or comparative to how they played the rest of the season, you know, they're still right there in the thick of it. And they're going to continue to be a hard out every game, you know, they play throughout the rest of the season.
Every single game. And just to I think the reason why everybody should be even more happy is not just that they took 2 out of the 3 from Kansas City. Hey, getting a little ahead of myself there. The next 4 games are at Chicago to play the White Sox. And I alluded to it before. If you can take 2 out of the 3 from Kansas City and then 3 of 4 from the White Sox in Chicago, you're feeling really good. And oh, by the way, I'm not calling for it because I think it's a little unfair to call for this, but the White Sox, although they're not as bad as they were last year, they're also very sweepable. I'll just say that. So if the Tigers can somehow get that done, you're looking at a 6-1 road trip. But at the end of the day, take 3 out of 4, and I am perfectly happy. They're still a Major League Baseball team. It's still on the road. Take 3 out of 4 following the 2 out of 3 you just took in Kansas City. 5-2 road trip, and then you have a big series against one of the best teams in the National League, Cubs, in which Comerica Park will be electric. Feeling really good about this team, feeling really excited.
I'm feeling really, really excited about it too, and it is because of that, because you can feel comfortable about what they're doing. We now see that this team, they have a hold over and a knowledge of what they're doing. There were certain moves that maybe we would have questioned earlier. There were certain, you know, from whatever at the trade deadline, even certain aspects of you all saying, you know what, this trade deadline is not as bad as Ben Verlander's letting it out to be, but it still wasn't necessarily the trade deadline we would have said, you know what, let's go out there and do that. And similar to the Lions and Brad Holmes, who clearly have a hand over the pulse of things, of winning, of getting these organizations to a foundation that we haven't quite seen here in some time. He definitely has his hand on that pulse. And for us as Tigers fans, I think that we often are, you know, akin to what we've been used to. And that's spend the money. This is Tigers. It's capitalist. You guys got it. You know, you can get the players. We're right there on the cusp. But what they've continued to do is stay true to whatever guns they have ablazing. And it's worked out much more than I think even us had thought. Coming into this season, my prediction total was more or less about, okay, this is more or less to think about what this team has done right, what they've been able to see, and the fact that they have some plan that is working much better than in the past, where you can say, you know what, okay, maybe Al Avila did these things right, but he did these things over here wrong, which ultimately undermined their ability to cash in on potential. These people, though, this regime, this entity, they have figured that out, similar to the same ways that we saw the Lions, similar to the same way that we saw the Pistons sweep out some things, bring in some new minds that have a handle on the business component of it, have a handle on the people component of it, which means you know which people to put in charge, you know which players to bring in here that fit your culture, and you know how to make that transition smooth and seamless without there being too much noise. Because no matter what anybody wants to say, all the players that were here that aren't, any of the coaches that were here that aren't, I don't hear any drama. In previous regimes, there was drama that went on. And so that's where I am very, very appreciative of where these teams are, how serious they're taking this thing. And regardless of if it's something I agree with or not, the Tigers have now put me in that position where I'm just like, all right, trust in Harris, trust in Hinch. And I don't know how many people are ready to say this, but trust in Chris Ilitch.
Well, there's some people that definitely wouldn't be willing to say that.
But he told us he stood on business last year, and he knew. You got to believe this man knew he was going to get laughed at. He said, we got enough to make the playoffs.
Well, and the thing is right now, like, I can not have blind trust in Chris Ilitch, but I'm not going to like rip him to shreds.
Where's your trust meter? Where's
Chris
your
Ilitch?
trust meter with Chris Ilitch?
Like,
has he
6.5, 7 out of 10. Yeah, of course. Of course. And yeah, when it comes to Hinch and Scott Harris, it's pretty much all the way there in terms of the trust meter, because I don't really think there's any reason not to, at least up to this point. But speaking of guys who I think there needs to be trust in, and I think there is from some of the fans, Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson are putting up not just good numbers, but in some ways even historic. Don't believe me? Ask the Tigers PR, because a lot of really interesting and cool graphics came out about the start that Spencer Torkelson and Riley Greene are having to this season, and we are going to come back and break it all down on the other side of the break. But Justin, tell us about Loom.
Let me tell you about Loom, and Loom has the favorite cannabis drink in the game of yours truly. So spring is in the air. Well, it's kind of summer at this point, but summer's in the air, and Michigan is buzzing. 7.5 milligrams of real THC wrapped in bubbles, crafted with real fruit juice with no artificial sweeteners. They're big in flavor but low in calories, and they are 100% hangover free. I honestly wish I would have drank one last night. It's all bubbles and no troubles. Catch it in watermelon, cherry, strawberry, or my two favorite flavors, raspberry, lemonade, and peach. Crack a can, take a sip, catch a buzz. Available at any of Loom's 38 locations across Michigan, and that's all of Michigan, northern Michigan included. Use WSN30 for 30% off your entire order online or in store. Go to www.loom.com today or use that QR code in the corner.
It's part beauty, part beast. It's for those who dare to be different, for those who want to stand out, and for those who are built for more. The all-new Ineos Grenadier combines strength and style for an unmatched driving experience. Sold exclusively at Feldman Ineos of Waterford.
Gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won.
We got
Tully, everybody.
This
guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan that QR code on the screen. Use code word Woodward1000. Deposit up to $1,000. But all you have to do is place a minimum of a $20 bet. And if it doesn't hit, Caesars is so cool, they will throw it right back into your account with no questions asked. It's Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Scan that QR code. Use code word Woodward1000 and make some money tonight.
Make some money. What up, though, people? With his Wake Up Woodward chat family. Let's rock. We talking some more of these Tigers. Another series win for them. They're just shy of 40 wins on the season, and I do believe after this White Sox series and the Cubs series, they're gonna be sitting so pretty. I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it already, man. I can't wait for it. Flannel, maybe we need to get boots on the ground for that Cubs game. I think that's gonna be an awesome one. The weather is trending to be fabulous in Detroit, and we know that this is honestly our time at Comerica Park to shine, especially with the Tigers doing their thing. But I wanted to ask the people briefly, as you talk about Riley Greene and Tork in this segment, as we do, I want to know what the people's, if I can get some of you guys' feedback. What's your confidence level in Chris Ilitch, the owner? Because I saw somebody say, I think it was Chuck Brewer, that his is still at a 3. He just believes that everyone that he hired is covering up.
And and I can't kill you for that. Like Chris Ilitch, there's a lot of things to still not love about him, but the reality is that the Tigers are good. So whatever Chris Ilitch didn't do or wouldn't allow Scott Harris to spend, it hasn't hurt them too much. Could it affect maybe their World Series ceiling? That's another conversation, and that's where we really probably have to talk about Chris Ilitch moving forward. But we'll see. The way that last season ended, the way that this season has gone on for at least almost the first half of it, I'm not going to – this isn't like a roast Chris Ilitch hour until it is at some point. Hopefully it never is.
Yep. But you know what? I do want to talk about some of these other players who, when you talk about confidence in them, Riley Greene has restored a lot of confidence in one Flannel Sam, and he has a jersey to prove it.
Yes.
Among other people who might have had some concerns about when he was going through just his fickle phase of baseball. And then another one, Tork. That was a player who a lot of fans gave a lot of time to figure this thing out. And we saw him play a big role in the second half of last season and helping bolster the Tigers as they went on to the playoffs. And how he started off this season, this is one where even people who wanted to hate on Tork, everybody's like, you know what, good for Tork and seeing exactly what he's done to be able to improve this season. And you see Tigers, one of the best teams in baseball because of both of these guys' contributions this year, man.
Well, and just to clarify, when it comes to Tork, I will stand by, and I think statistics will bear it out, that he deserved all of the criticism last year, unlike other players. But this season, and this is where I've been consistent, I apologized. I said I was wrong, happy to be wrong, and now Spencer Torkelson continuing on this outstanding season, especially considering the expectations we had from him. I haven't criticized him once because he's kept the numbers high, he's kept the slumps at a minimum, and he's having a great year, and he might get rewarded with an all-star appearance, and we shall see. But speaking of which, Tigers PR just put out a tweet that was titled The 2 Best Friends Anyone Can Have, in which it reads as following, if you've got that one, JB Smoove. Spencer Torkelson and Riley Greene enter June as the only set of teammates in the AL to both have 13 homers and 40-plus RBIs. It's the first time in franchise history we've had 2 players with 13 home runs at the start of June. Those are incredible stats, and that's why when that second paragraph, you might have thought when I said historic that I was exaggerating, but at least in terms of the Tigers, it's the first time in franchise history we've had 2 players with 13-plus homers at the start of June. It's such a mind-blowing stat that I almost don't believe it, but it is Tigers PR. It's not just, Jim Bob's account with 100 followers. So it's been incredible what they've been doing. And let's not get it twisted. When it comes to this team, at least when it comes to this offense, we can talk about Javi Baez being better. We can talk about Zach McKinstry being a super utility player. We can certainly talk about Dylan Dingler being an absolute revelation, Gleyber Torres. But the engine of this offense, the reason why they're as good as they are, the reason their offense is as good as the reason why their team as a whole, 39 and 21 record, one of the biggest reasons is because their all-star is continuing to play like an all-star, and their former 1-1 who had fallen off is now playing like an all-star. They're playing like absolute stars. And when you really think about it, of how many great duos there are in the American League, Aaron Judge and Paul Goldschmidt ain't doing it. Bo Bichette and Vlad Jr. ain't doing it. I say ain't for effect, by the way. Alex Bregman and Rafael Devers ain't doing it. And Bregman's having a great year. He's just hurt now. Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez ain't doing it. Shout out to the Royals, or Boo to the Royals. Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman certainly aren't doing it, and the Baltimore Orioles are ass, and Adley Rutschman is terrible,
Straight
and Gunnar
bullet.
Henderson has really fallen off. Marcus Semien and Corey Seager ain't doing it, and speaking of ass, have you seen Marcus Semien's stats this year? Horrendous. And Corey Seager's hurt, which is a part of it, because, you want your guys to stay healthy. Yordan Alvarez and Jose Altuve ain't doing it. Alvarez is also hurt, but still. And Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez ain't doing it. It's just these two. It's just Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson who, in combination, are putting up the power numbers amongst AL teammates that these guys are. It's incredible. It's what we wanted for so many years. It's what we finally have this year. And a testament to those two, and a testament to the people in the organization, particularly when it comes to Tork, for not giving up on him, as a lot of us had, myself included. I was wrong. Shout out Tork, shout out Greene. They're going to be the ones that could lead us to the promised land. I really think there's a chance of that.
Yeah, definitely. These stats are amazing considering some of the lineups that we've seen the Detroit Tigers have. There's been times where we've had those bats or multiple bats, but just to see how good they've been at the start of June. Usually, and shout out to KG, it was always, well, let's at least get to June. Or if this is happening. No, these guys have gotten to June and they're putting up something historic, which is the word that you continue to appropriately use for what Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson are doing. And that's what, when you look at how good the Tigers have been, this is why any aspect of fickleness, any aspect of, Tork or even Riley Greene, who may have more times this season where they go into mini slumps or even elongated ones. This is where, when I told you, I've moved into now the stoke not scared component of for the Tigers, just like we did for the Lions. No matter the ups, no matter the downs, no matter the loss, I believe in this team, and a lot of it has to do with understanding the quality of players we have, the management. But it does to highlight these two players. There was a time when, I thought that people believed Riley Greene wasn't as effective as he actually was. And you came on here and you laid out the stats. And we've known front and center what Tork is. But I believe that there's even a contingent of Tigers fans, and I'm not even going to fault them for this because of what the start of his career was. But I do believe there's some people who still wait and still have anxiety in their stomach about when is the shine going to come off of Spencer Torkelson. I don't think it is. I do 100% firmly believe these players are here to stay in this capacity. Obviously, Riley Greene following up one all-star season with another one. But Spencer Torkelson, the one of one, I do believe has finally figured this thing out, and it's a player you can depend on and count on just as much as the Tigers have now for how many games in a row. It's not just this season. You go back to the second half of last season, Tork has had some things figured out. I would have, I know some people, they talk about, mixed reviews from the playoffs and things of that nature, but what are we talking about? Tork turned it on at a time where we were dealing with some injuries and this, that, and the other. We know, shout out to Kerry Bonds and what he did too. But that's where I like where this is headed for this Tigers team, because who knew? We've already expected this team to take a step forward, but who knew you would get it from also a person at a historic pace in tandem with Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson.
Well, and this is where with Spencer Torkelson, I'm actually seeing some things, and I've laid it out there before, to where it does appear to be real. And the number one thing for me is just the fact that he's walking a lot. His walk rate has skyrocketed. He's got a really good on-base percentage. Even though his average isn't quite where you would want it to be, it doesn't matter because he's making the most of the times he does get hits. He's hitting home runs at one of the highest clips in Major League Baseball. He's getting on base, and he's limiting the slumps. He hasn't gone through really those catastrophic slumps. He'll have a few every now and
that's
then.
baseball.
Even right now, he's in a little bit of a mini one, but I don't give a damn because at the end of the day, the Tigers are winning, and Spencer Torkelson's OPS and his numbers, they've continued to remain high. And with Riley Greene, too. Obviously, there's some things about him that some people really want to highlight and put the microscope on, like against left-handed pitchers, with runners in scoring position, but at the end of the day, he's putting up those great numbers too, and his numbers in terms of splits are almost identical to what they were in the All-Star season. OPS last season was 827. This year right now it's 827. His batting average is a little bit higher. His on-base percentage is a little bit lower, but at the end of the day, the Tigers are being led by two players at least having star seasons. And I saw, I believe it was a Gunny, and in the chat. He asked if either of them could heat up and get 40 home runs this season. I'd probably say no, but I do think that they'll both get 30. As long as both of them stay healthy, I do think both of them will at least get 30. And hopefully Kerry Carpenter can get out of his power slump, which he's in right now, and maybe hit 20 or 25. This team, the power has not been a problem with this team, as many of us thought that it would be. It really hasn't been.
Not at all. And do you have any doubts at all with a Kerry Carpenter type of a player getting things together? This is one of those players where I'm saying, this is one of those guys I want to see during the hot months of the year, during the summertime, with all the fans showing up in droves. That's a guy that I want to see. Who was Kerry Bonds after the trade deadline last year? Epic. And I know that he had some moments beforehand too, but that's where I'm looking forward to Kerry being able to be more and more of what we want to see out of Kerry Bonds. Would it be dope to have it right now? Of course. But it's like you said with Tork. If we're gonna say this with Tork, hey, you know what? We've reached this precipice now, this kumbaya point where even a slight little bit of, hey, get it together, Tork, I'm not even worried about it anymore. Of course I'm going to extend that to a player like Kerry Bonds, because I do believe when you're talking about how much they've contributed, when you think about a guy like Kerry Bonds, I understand putting just a little bit of light on him because you want him to get back to the levels that we saw last year, which brought on you so eloquently dubbing him Kerry Bonds or Barry Carpenter, man. But I did think about that. This team's ceiling. That's what I continue to think about. There's still several really good players that this team could utilize or get some contributions from when they return or when they figure everything out.
Carpenter. It's not like he's having an awful season.
No, he's having a good year.
Yeah, he's having 10 home runs, and if you're counting how many everyday positional players there are in the MLB, there's around 270 positional players that play on an everyday basis, and he's tied for 37th in home runs. So it's not like he's not in the top upper class of hitters in the MLB still. But yeah, I do expect him to progress to the mean a little more and be more like how we can expect him to be like he was last year. And I do think that Tork and Riley Greene have a great opportunity to hit 30 home runs each. I don't think that either of them will hit 40, but they're 20 games or so from the midway point in the season. They both have 13 and 14 respectively. So I really think that they both should hit 30 home runs, and I think that Kerry should be nipping at their heels, especially if he can bring the power numbers up just a little bit, because I would expect him to have a stronger second half of the season in terms of power numbers than Riley and Tork, just because of the fact that I do think he's going to progress more than what we've seen from Riley and Tork, especially Tork, who didn't show this power last year. And I'm not saying he's going to regress, but I'm just saying I do expect in the second half of the season for Kerry to be the hitter that everyone is most afraid to pitch to.
Hey, and I could see that because the man, he's just throughout his career, that's pretty much what he's done. He's had some injury concerns, but when he plays, he hits bombs. That's why he wasn't called Kerry Bonds for no reason. This is really honestly right now the first real power slump he's ever had. But even despite that power slump, his numbers have maintained, really, really good. Maybe not really, really good, but good enough for this team, that's for sure. And what up, Doe, with Detroit Gunny. And then I'm going to read that one and then WeezyD313's back-to-back because I think they're both good comments. If Greene can cut down on the Ks and increase the walks, he could be an MVP candidate for sure. And I agree with that.
Well, yeah, but he's changing his swing for more power, so it's kind of hard to ask that and ask for more power. You got to choose one or the other, and right now they want him to be focusing on hitting for more power.
And that's why the strikeouts don't bother me. The lack of walks bother me a little bit, but that's just nitpicking at this point because his OPS is still as high as it was last year, despite his walk rate being down, because he's hitting better and he's hitting with more power. And WeezyD313, don't forget the rock that Torres is. We loaded, big dog. I'll tell you what, if Torres can maintain what he's been doing and avoid just a bad slump coming to the All-Star break, he'll probably be the All-Star starter at second base. Probably. At this point, it's kind of a weak class. I know Jackson Holliday, he's a name, and he's been heating up a bit, but if the Orioles are trash and Jackson Holliday's numbers are not even as good as Gleyber Torres's, there is absolutely no way you can put him as a starter over Gleyber Torres. But one of the other reasons why I'm glad that this Greene and Tork stuff has been brought up, because there's someone in this city who's kind of irritating me a little bit.
Here we go.
His name is Mike Valeni. And I love Mike Valeni. Respect the hell out of him. But even now when he talks Tigers, it's with this air of snark that I just can't stand. And one thing that I heard him say the other day, and I wanted to actually call in and just yell at him. Like, that was one of those moments where I'm like, just give me 2 minutes with him, man. Just in terms of, like, arguing. He was talking about this Tigers team, like, you know, they're led by Javier Baez, Zach McKinstry, and franchise player Matt Vierling. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh.
Somebody needs to show this graphic to Mike Valeni that Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson are leading this team offensively. They are playing like stars. They're providing the Tigers all of the power that they need, or not all that they need, but enough from their top 2 hitters. In no way, shape, or form are they being led by mid players. You need Zach McKinstry's in playoff lineups. You need guys like Javi Baez, at least with the numbers he's putting up right now, in playoff lineups. Heck, Matt Vierling, how valuable was he last year? But Matt Vierling hasn't even really played this year at all. I understand that when you look at the Tigers, they don't have the top-end talent like the Dodgers do, or the Mets, or probably even the Yankees. But Riley Greene and Spencer Torkelson are playing like stars. They're not just names. Riley Greene is doing it again. Spencer Torkelson is doing it really for the first time and thriving. This is not a team being led by little engines that coulds. The little engines that coulds are supplemental players, as they are on every single team, including the Dodgers last year, by the way. Have you heard of Gavin Lux and Kike Hernandez? They were starting Game 5 of the World Series last year. It's not just all Otanis and Freemans and Teoscar Hernandez's and Mookie Betts. You need guys like that, but they are being led by Greene and Tork. And oh, by the way, Kerry Carpenter has double-digit home runs, and Gleyber Torres is probably going to be the all-star second baseman, and his on-base percentage is the best it's ever been by far. So miss me with that nonsense. Mike Valeni's just pissed that they didn't do what he wanted them to do in the offseason. He's still opining over Wyatt Langford. He's still opining over Alex Bregman. And don't get me wrong, those are good players. It's just, dude, stop lying to your audience. You're the best in the city for a reason. Not for long if you keep pulling that bullshit, though.
But that's why I continue to say, whether I agree with Brad Holmes, whether I agree with Harris, this is now a time that they understand what they're doing. That's why I continue to state that. And look, they're going to do a lot of things that we disagree with. How many times does that happen? A lot. And sadly, over like the last 15, 20 years of Detroit sports before this little renaissance, fans have been able to say, you know what, we think we're more right than these organizations because of how little winning there's been. But when you finally see that you got something there, it doesn't matter if they're doing the things that we want or not. It comes to a point where you just say, you know what, they know what they're doing. Harris knows what he's doing. Trajan knows what he's doing. Holmes knows what he's doing. Yzerman knows what he's doing. It gets to a point that you just state that, and with the Tigers, they've given you so much more to prove that. How many people overreacted at the trade deadline? How many people? And then this team went on to say, you know what? Best team in baseball over the 40 games from this point. Like, that's how they served all of that. That, to me, it's like, who wants to get fed that again while they're literally the best team in baseball? Again! They did it again! I don't even understand it, but they did it again. It's like, to be able to hold on to any notion. Like, yeah, sure, we can have conversations of what we want them to be able to do, but I've even seen Flannel get to a point where it's just like, there are things I could always sit and conjecture, but look at this team.
Yeah.
Like, at a certain point in time, you give up any notions about what they aren't, because all they keep feeding us is W's. Like, they're, for lack of a better term here, they're literally the Jameson Winstons of the Jameis Winstons of Major League Baseball. They are literally feeding W's to Detroit.
And Freddie Felt 313. Mike Valeni is a jabroni. I'll stop short of that. I actually like Mike Valeni for the most part, but as I've said with Mike Valeni, and this is my view on him, I think he's one of the best I've ever heard. You could argue he's still the best in the city. Across all platforms, I still think you have to give it up to him. But at the end of the day, if you're a team that is struggling, that needs a voice of the frustrations, there's nobody I'd want in the history of the world more than Mike Valeni. But when your team is successful, that's where he still likes to play that role, and that gets irritating after a while. Honestly, after hearing what I heard about him say that nonsense about the Tigers, I think moving forward, I might have to change some behaviors. Maybe more on that later in the week. The changed man flannel arc is very complicated, and there's a lot of peaks and valleys.
Multiverse, right?
But hey, I'm willing to work on myself as often as I can. Yes.
I like this, the flannelverse.
The best part of this bit to me is the fact that he brought up Javi Baez as the big part of the reason that they're winning. And I'm sorry, Mike, but you're like a month late on that train, because in the last month, Javi Baez has been hitting awful. He's on a huge slump ever since he hit the huge home run to win the game in extra innings. He, in the last month, has a 683 OPS. In the last 15 days, has a 423 OPS. And in the last week, he has a 154 OPS. So I think you missed the window by about a month, because now he's on a huge slump, and he's really got to find his way back to the mean, because he is diving fast down into the old Javi Baez, and we need the new Javi Baez.
Too little, too late, man.
Well, and the thing is, too, and this is what drives me crazy, is that Mike Valeni knows this. He's not dumb. He knows that Greene and Tork have been great. Just say that then. Like, if you want to say that McKinstry and Javi play too big of roles on a team for the Tigers to be a World Series contender, I'll listen, although every lineup has guys like that. But to act like they're leading the charge is just like the Tigers don't have stars. That's what drives me crazy, because you may not think that Spencer Torkelson is a sustainable star. You might not think that Riley Greene was a worthy all-star last year or is this year, but they are both playing like stars at least to start this season. And with a guy like Riley Greene, we've seen a sample size, a season and a half. Even with Spencer Torkelson, even though I think his 2023 season was a little bit overrated, he still hit 30 home runs. It's not like Spencer Torkelson and Riley Greene are doing it for the very first time in their entire lives right now. They're good. They're, barring catastrophic slumps, going to be in the All-Star game, and the Tigers have the best record in baseball. So just no raining on parades. There will be no raining on parades at Woodward Sports. I can promise you that.
We can't, especially when they've done everything possible to go out there and give us a squad and give us a performance in this first half of the season better than even the most ardent people predicted. There might have been some out there who predicted this type of outburst out of the Tigers before June. Like, they almost had an opportunity, man, to get to 40 wins. They're sitting at 39 wins right now with a great opportunity to fatten up some more. 4 wins against the White Sox. Go out there and handle your business and continue. I hope that when people talk about this team or any aspect of anything that you want to zero in on with negative criticism, that you continue to keep it within the larger perspective that this team is one of the best in baseball, if not the best. That's just why I don't understand it. And even us, we've continued to say, you know what, we've talked pre-shows like, you know what, yeah, there's some things we can focus on, but why would we?
Yeah.
This team won. This team just won another series. Who gives a frick about even the 3 games? Think about that, how it's set up, where we had the 3 games against the Guardians, some time for another win and some other stuff to happen, and we came in on the next day like, you know what? They bounced back from adversity.
Yeah.
I think about if we would have overreacted to any aspect of that. And remember Cavassier Chase setting the stage brilliantly before that series. Say, you know what? If this happens, you know, this isn't necessarily indicative of the identity of this team. And what have they proved? That's not our identity.
I remember that, and Chase turned out to be right. In a lunchbox, we rarely agree, but this is, I think, smart. Sad part is Javi's slump still ain't letting them loose. That's the thing, and that's why you haven't seen me come up here and just rip Javi, because the Tigers are still winning, and Javi Baez's numbers, although they're not nearly what they were when he was on his hot streak, when he was hitting the walk-off and the 2 home runs in the same game, they're not nearly good enough to justify the contract. Even with the slump, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that Javi Baez's numbers 60 games in are what they are now, I would have taken it 100 times out of 100. Javi Baez is still having a decent year, all things considered. It's just he's going through slumps. He's not a great player anymore. He's just not. Javi's going to go through slumps. It's okay as long as the Tigers win and he doesn't make it too catastrophic.
And that's what we stated. When these people, if at all, regress to any portion of the mean, it's not time to say, oh, well, look, now these guys are all contributing. And when you look at it overall, like even me with Kerry Bonds, we know the peak that he had last year to help the Tigers achieve something great and unexpected. And so even me, I can go and be like, man, he's not necessarily, that Kerry Bonds anymore. But then when you look at the overall numbers, you're introduced with, hey, this guy is still contributing at a really, really decent level for a team that is the best in baseball. Yeah. And that's the only perspective that matters right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna pull up Kerry Carpenter's numbers before we go to break and get to what's trending. We don't want to miss that again. I mean, his OPS is 768, which isn't great. His on-base percentage is 298, which is not great either. 10 home runs. But at the end of the day, that's something that he can come back from. He's not slumping to the point where his OPS has fallen into the sixes. If it gets to that and the Tigers scuffle a bit, then we can have that conversation.
And he's not an easy out.
No, he's not. No. I mean, like I said, he's just kind of like Riley Greene. Even though Riley Greene's been way better, I'd like to see them walk a little bit more because they have a history of doing so. It's just they're both not really doing it much this year, especially Riley Greene. But at the end of the day, Riley Greene's an all-star, barring a catastrophic slump, and Kerry Carpenter has double-digit home runs. Everything's great. Everything's wonderful. Everything's fine.
Everything is awesome.
You know what, JB Smooth? I think we should probably double or triple up here and take a quick one, and we get back for everybody's favorite.
Yeah, we got to triple up on some of these. So let's do Buddy's, Dr. Pierce, and the White Claw tour.
Let's rock. Buddy's Pizza, that is for lunch. You guys already know the deal. And you know what? They're here to help you at any of their 22 locations in the great state of pure Michigan, this beautiful state. They're here to help you, man. Find one of those locations, but before you do, make sure that you get the app at the Buddy's Pizza mobile app and start earning today towards those promotions. And before you do that, before you reach to free food, free pizza, because who don't like that, make sure you guys are at least using promo code 10MEAL, that's the number 10MEAL, to save 10% off your entire order. Buddy'sPizza.com. And attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and every Thursday during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that D-Mac does, because Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944. And one more, because I know that this pertains to all of you, calling all Tigers fans, join us for the White Claw Tigers Tour. Woodward Sports will be hitting 4 of the top bars in Detroit, and we already hit the first one. That was McShane's. It was epic. Shout out to Jake from White Claw for showing up, and make sure we got these victory shades, as well as anybody else who showed up got some too. And the next one is June 13th, and we want you guys to join us at Nemo's Bar in Detroit. Spencer and Easy are going to be there, and the heavyweights holding it down. And what better crew when you talk about Tigers baseball, because they also have Nick with them, probably the best Tigers beat reporter in the entire state of Michigan. So be part of the fun and see our reactions live on Woodward Sports Network to one of the hottest teams in baseball. It's the White Claw Tigers Tour, brought to you by White Claw and the fabulous Vin Johnson Law.
Hey, Tony, what's up, bro?
Same circus, different clowns.
Yeah, for sure. You want the usual, the big zip?
You know me too well.
Oh. Now throw a little something extra in there for your ma.
Oh,
Hope
man.
she's doing all right.
Ay, guy, sei un santo. You're a saint.
All right, buddy, we'll see you next time, okay?
Grazie.
WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable. ThenFights.com.
Hey, Les
He's their
Stanford
hero.
Buick and GMC has great offers for everyone. Get a 2025 Envision Preferred AWD for only $259 per month, or try out the 2025 Sierra Double Cab Elevation for only $169 per month. Don't forget about the 2025 Hummer EV SUV for only $699 per month. Get to Les Stanford today and check out their massive inventory. Les Stanford Buick and GMC, lesstanford.com.
And guys, let's be honest, we like simple stuff, like gimmies on the golf course. We like uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's haircuts for men, and Frank Ragnow getting some guaranteed money this year. Walk in, sign in, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Lady Jane's open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It is wicked awesome.
And a massage chair house. Justin?
Let me tell you about the Massage Chair House. Looking for an upgrade in your relaxation game? Check out the Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest, with the top brands for massage chairs like the Affinity and the Osaki, located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road. Experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the wellness doc, and the creator of the top YouTube page chair review channel. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan the QR code. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
Hey, we got it done. And you know what? You guys get as a reward, you get what's trending, everybody's favorite segment. Let's spark a word to everybody. What? Loom, jars, mad packs, and maybe more on the way.
Maybe more.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
We talking about the main man, JB Smooth. Let's rock.
Hey, what's going on, chat family? What's up, fellas? Got a couple videos for you today. One, I'm going to get straight directly to the point because this one goes out to our very own chat member, Tabitha Gable, because I know that she is preparing for a wedding that's coming up very soon. But instead of having a flower girl, I think you should have this. A shot cart guy that sits here and hands out shots to all the guests that are in attendance right there.
I wonder how much this increases the opportunities that somebody is going to actually object.
Oh, yeah, right? That is a good idea. I object. Bro. We've been
On the surface, though, hey.
I would just don't marry this bitch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
shit.
No, yeah, honestly, with what some of my friends did for me during my wedding time, I wish I could have given them shots during the ceremony. But they were all standing up with me, though. I don't know if that's necessarily a good look. Maybe take a shot from the flask every now and again.
Start the party a little bit early. So instead of having a flower girl, you have a shot cart boy. That would be perfect.
Oh, dog, but that imagery is funny, dog. To be able to see, like, all your people up on stage with you, and all of them have, like, a shot, and every now and then, like, a little flash of, like, the imagery, hey, I want to see it at the very least.
100%. 100%, yeah.
They get strong and the truth will come out.
What up, Willie B?
What did you say, Will?
What up, Willie B?
The liquor, when the liquor is in your system, the truth will come out unexpectedly. Straight up.
So you
don't marry this bitch.
So you
shit. I warn your ass. Liquor, unspoken truth. Little kids, drunk people, and sick people will tell the truth automatically. That's the lesson, old lesson I learned from my pops.
Shout out to Willie B,
Shout out
dog.
to
Because
Willie.
there's no lie.
Oh man! Shout out to Willie for that one.
No, don't know that you're right.
No, bro, the chat loves it too, Willie B.
Yeah.
I got tears in my eyes now.
I know.
Shout out to Willie B.
Oh man! This next video, you guys got to help me out with this one because I cannot be the only person that does this whenever they go out to Chipotle, Qdoba. The food's already expensive enough as it is, but Chipotle tax. You guys ever did this where you just load up on all the stuff in the in the concession area?
Oh, what's this?
The hot sauce, the straws.
Snatch
the
everything
napkins.
off.
I mean, bro,
I do that.
Look, bro, them forks and spoons are better than the Dollar Tree. I'm just being
100%.
so serious with you. I
mean, don't
you
take
can't go
everything.
wrong with them, right? I mean, look, they've been shorting on the bowls anyway. Got to get it back somewhere.
Exactly. Like it's Chipotle tax.
Chipotle will cheat.
I'm over here trying to convince myself.
Cheat the protein out and shit. Talk about, hey, we got enough.
Am I a good person if I do this?
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't knock
You pay
against
what
you.
You
being a
pay
good
what you
person.
owe.
There's no limit on it. Shout out to intern Ryan. Thank you, man. You guys are making me feel. I wonder what the chat thinks.
If I pay $13 and you only give more meat in my rice, what kind? I gonna take what's earned.
But tell me y'all don't walk out of there feeling like you just
okay, I feel cheated.
half the establishment though.
I walk out with something.
I be walking out like, yo, they're all looking at me, man.
I ain't
They're all looking at me over 30 napkins.
Over 30 napkins.
More.
Pay what I earn.
Plus or minus 50.
Don't cheat me out.
So it's only one way that can go.
Yeah.
And finally, I will end what's trending with this because, ladies and gentlemen, come with me and find a world full of OSHA violations. Willie, this better not be you, man.
What violation? Nope.
Whoa!
No, that's my
backs
old
over
coworker.
my man's leg.
Is he okay?
Is he out for the season?
Why is it still moving?
I mean, you got to get it off of him somehow.
Man, that just a little bit.
Oh,
just a tad.
He wasn't
bit.
even looking. He didn't even know.
My coworker in the Eastern Market. He back out just a little bit. We're on the produce section, and he said, "Give you some beets, couple boxes of beets. We supposed to get string beans, so he got something involved with me. I ain't got no business doing. Got some beets, and he saw somebody. He back into me. I said, "Hold the fuck on, man! Like you almost hit me in my shin." So that, and man, we got the beets, and I come in unscathed. But that shit hurts like a son bitch. We got that little tapping in the behind that high-low.
Sheesh.
Man.
Give that man a TGT shirt straight up.
Get him a raise,
I
man.
mean, especially if he continue working after that as well too. So
dang, oh goodness. Justin from North Carolina. This stuff is all over the place. Eric Allen said, "I'd be cool with him if I took all that stuff from Chipotle." Justin said, "Hell no, I slapped them straws out your hands if you did that with me." Goodness. He probably run over me like this. Goodness. This is crazy.
Man. But that's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop into some mailbag while we got some time or pay some sponsors for a minute.
Let's say what I've done to some sponsors. If we see something interesting pop into the chat, we'll definitely take one. And then if not, we'll definitely get a close on the show.
Hey, Mark White. Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Hey, and we are back, and I see one. Let me see here. Alan W. Sorry if I'm spoiling a future segment, but due to the reports of the Pistons being interested in a stretch big, put Duren and Stu's future in the team in jeopardy. You know what? I definitely do. Where do they go to make the move? It puts players like that in jeopardy. I just don't know if it's necessarily them. I would assume that they're looking to pair Jalen Duren up with a stretch four, that they're looking that with that tandem of being able to bring Stu off the bench. I would assume they're looking more or less to pair. And right now you still got Toby. So it'll be interesting to see. I think if there's anyone to be concerned about if they're going to be here long-term based on if the Pistons pursue this, I actually believe that Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart are more safe. Jalen Duren more than Stewart, but those two are more safe than other players on this roster.
Definitely probably more segments, especially during our Woodward Pistons.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Rando Smalls, Feldman Mailbag, any word on when Parker Meadows is coming back? I mean,
a while.
I was going to say that might be that's probably more of a question for our esteemed beat writer, Nick Koloff.
I think he said like July or August. Like he got put on the 60-day IL. I mean,
he's been in the minors. I mean, we'll see. They've managed fine without him, but at the end of the day, you want Parker Meadows because we still, even despite our depth that maybe we didn't even know we had, still saw Badu in the lineup a couple of times. That's the one thing I'll really hammer. Like, no more Akil Badu, although he made a couple really nice catches against Toronto. I did see, and I lost who sent it, talking about who was going to take Jackson Job's starts. Trust me, we're going to, later on this week, if we have time, we'll dive deeper into the fact that the Tigers, despite all of the good vibes, some pitcher injuries, been a thing. Casey Mize on the IL, off it, thank goodness. Olsen and Job currently on.
And Cobb.
Well, yeah, and Cobb. Never even seen him. Don't even know him. But, yeah, he was we'll see what comes of him. But, yeah, I know that Nick Koloff has mentioned the name Sawyer Gibson-Long a lot as somebody who could potentially come up and start, somebody who started and pitched well in 2023 on a very small sample size, but has been battling Tommy John and is recovering. He's pitching in the minors. We'll see. But, yeah, I don't love the fact that a lot of pitchers are on the IL, but that's neither here nor there.
I also wanted to shout out Broder and Nick Koloff for starting Woodward Tigers. Their first episode did launch over the weekend, and that's I'm telling you, it's quality stuff here. It's cool to see the weekend content really taking a life of its own, and you guys are going to be able to get even more detailed and focused input from some of the people that know this game, better than anyone else here, and who are covering it a lot more frequently than anybody else here at the network. So shout out to Broder, who's always going to be able to bring his unique perspective on the game, playing at a high level at University of Michigan, and teammates with Chris Fetter, the Tigers pitching coach, and Nick Koloff, who's hit the ground running. He's brought a new life to beat reporting, especially in that Tigers world, and he's done a fabulous job. So make sure you guys are tapping in with Woodward Tigers, in addition to all of the other platforms we have: Woodward Wings, Woodward Ringside, Fast and Loose, among other platforms that are going to be getting going soon. Woodward Basketball, in conjunction with Woodward Pistons podcast, Woodward Basketball. You guys have heard me talk about Chris Platty, Anson, among other people. Willie B is going to be involved, among others, here at the network, and I can't wait. A lot of growth, a lot of coverage, a lot of fun, a lot of watch parties.
A lot of watch parties. Dante151 in all caps. Feldman Mailbag. Can we talk how bad the Colorado Rockies are? 9-50. My goodness. Just I could not imagine being a Rockies fan right now. No wins, no hope. Just the cupboard is really bare. They got a couple of decent young players, but who cares at this point? They might not even get to 30. Shout out Ryan. He said they're on pace to win 25 games. But Willie B just.
He said Nas Reed opted out.
Oh. Hey, maybe more on that later. But Freddie Felt 313, I just want to read this one because he's asking us a question, and then we can get out of here. I will be boots on the ground at the Tigers-Cubs game on Sunday. I will be eating at Sweetwater before the game. What is one spot in the D?
Who was that?
Freddie Felt 313.
That's right.
What is one spot in the D you'd recommend food? Why?
I mean, bro, you already at Sweetwater.
Sweetwater Hamburger, Jose Tacos over the Eastern Market.
Mexican Village.
Mexican
Village
around
not
the
in
corner.
downtown proper, but Mexican Village.
Yeah, it's next door to what's the other restaurant? Sweet Georgia Brown on around Greektown area. So you want to go downtown, or you want to go to East Market, you want to go to Zeph's, Coney Island, or you go
Jamaican Pot on 8 Mile. It is the best Jamaican food you can get. I'm telling you, shout out Mama Rose and the whole team over there, Jamaican Pot. Maybe I'll take you and Freddie and the team over there.
Fair enough.
She wants to come on the show, but maybe I'll take you guys over there and surprise her.
I was going to ask Freddie, if you're there with your wife, probably my favorite date spot is Lumen. They've got really nice outdoor seating, indoor seating. It's a little pricey, and the food to me is good but not great. But in terms of ambiance, in terms of like just being a good date spot, I would probably go Lumen.
And hit up Parlay too. Shout out to Joy Bell, Parlay in downtown Detroit. That is his restaurant, and it's doing great things right now, man. So shout out to Joy Bell doing this thing down there.
Yep. Justin from North Carolina. Just one more. I feel bad. I'm extending it because we're gonna touch on this later. I really wish we would have had time today, but we couldn't. Did you see Halliburton thinking he was going to win Series MVP, but watch his boy Siakam win?
Oh.
A very wise man, mentioned a couple of times how gotten a lot of help. I'll just say that.
I was going to say, oh, man, that's an interesting thing there. Because,
Hansberg
Cade
no
has
credit.
that much help, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
So
Siakam made the All-Star team over Halliburton. Siakam leads the team in scoring in the regular season and the playoffs over Halliburton. Siakam gets the Eastern Conference Finals MVP over Halliburton. Weird.
And you know what? I'm not even mad at the Pacers. They did what they had to do. You know who else did? The Raptors. They went out there and they got a co-star. Do the Pistons need to do the same thing? That is the question.
That's the question.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the question.
That's the question. We're going to get there, man. But is that a show?
That is a show.
Let's get this going. Justin, that might be a graphic, bro. We've seen a couple of these young players get bolstered with the Pacers. and Tyrese Halliburton, Scotty Barnes, and the Raptors, and everybody go and plunge into the Giannis thing. NBA Central said that Austin Ainge is now the president of basketball operations with the Jazz. I wonder how that affects what they're going to do this season. A lot of stuff to talk about, but this has been a show. And shout out to Detroit for just overall fans, the city, the businesses, the sports, the media, everybody showing out this weekend. We got the Tigers winning that series against the Royals. Now they start up a cupcake series against the White Sox, and I hope they fatten themselves up before they face the other team from Chicago, the Cubs. And you know what? The Detroit Grand Prix showed up and showed out. The drivers left here feeling like Detroit was awesome, man. To be able to hear them talk about our city and talk about our people and to talk about our love for this and the show and the people that showed up and showed out. That was epic, man. Shout out to everything that they did to make this thing a family-friendly event, as well as something for the enthusiasts too, which is what we saw. JB, Chase for Fast and Loose, the interns, Alina, Ryan, and Justin, who took point this weekend. Shout out to Spinney as well, and anyone else I'm forgetting. What a fabulous weekend, but I just want to make sure I shout out you guys out one more time before we break this thing down. Shout out to our brothers Matthew Broder and KG. We got intern Noah in the building, intern Ryan, intern Alina, all in the building. But in the sound booth, we got Cavassier Chase, who's continuing to be a man of versatility. What up, though, Cavassier Chase?
Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you guys had a fun weekend as well. It was really busy, and I look forward to another jam-packed weekend ahead. So, tap in for the rest of the week to keep hearing more about it, and we look forward to hanging out tomorrow. So have a good one, guys.
Yeah, definitely. We go over here to the TD booth, Woodward Sports MVP, JB Smooth. What up, though, brother?
Hey, another great show, another amazing weekend, especially from the whole team here at Woodward Sports. Once again, shout out to everyone putting in the hard work. Friday, Saturday, Sunday down at the Grand Prix as well. Justin, all the flowers go to you. All I know is that my legs are hurting. We walked plenty of miles around that track a couple times, but it was all fun. It was all worth it. So shout out to everyone else that helped out, that was involved this weekend.
Shout out the free shuttle.
Oh, yeah.
That's dope, man. Hey, and you know what? I can't wait to look forward to the other content where you guys break this stuff down. I'm telling you guys, go and make sure you support the side content. And really, it's not side content. It's weekend content. It's main content. And shout out to that dude, Justin, Willie B. I see you guys over there. That dude, Justin, first. What up, though, brother?
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely gassed. I can't lie. This was a brutal couple days. Oh, crap. I'm looking at how many steps I had over the last 3 days. 17,000 on Friday, 14 on Saturday, and 11 on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. I definitely dropped like 3 pounds, bro.
Yeah, I definitely lost some weight this weekend, but it was a great weekend. I'd do it all again in a heartbeat. I can't wait till next year. So thank you, Woodward Sports, and the people who supported the content. You guys are what makes the content go and what makes us able to produce the content. So thank you to you guys for screwing with the content and wanting it this weekend. So you guys made it a lot of fun for me. So shout out.
Hey, Willie B, what up, though?
Man,
Our favorite crash out.
Oh no! Oh, everything is smooth.
Yeah,
no. So this is legendary crash out right there.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second.
That's one. I'm two, man. You know what I mean? With it, but it's been smooth. We making great content and learn a lot from. You got legends like Terry Fawcett, John Bleaches of Lions Weekly yesterday that we did and y'all do. Man, y'all do your damn thing at the Detroit Grand Prix, and Justin, you did a great job leading, bro. So I'm just telling you, man, I'll give you my props to y'all, and you and Chase and JB, y'all making perfect content. This is all about creating your own and manifest what y'all want to do. And overall, do what you gotta do, and do it with your love, and do it with your passion, and everything falls in place.
Shout out, man. Wise words from one of our elder statesmen here, but somebody who's been such a vet in this game overall too. Just like this guy here, we got Flannel Sam, the vet of our squad, vet of this network. One of the three of the perfect trifecta here with Woodward Wings. All sports knower, man. Hey, shout out to you, Flannel Sam.
Yep, and in case you guys can't tell, right now what the Tigers are doing is my favorite story in all the sports. So go to Chicago, take care of business, and like you said, fatten yourselves up. Give yourselves an even bigger cushion in the AL Central and in the American League, because those Yankees, they dropped 2 or 3 from the Dodgers.
Hey, shout out to you guys, man. Tabitha Gable, she says, great show, guys. The WUW Crew rules. Randall Smalls, great show, guys. Be your best. Terrell Lamar, great show. Tabitha Gable again. She says, shout out Detroit. Greg G. Be safe, everyone. Steve Baffy, I love this one. All gas. no breaks. Guys, if you didn't get an opportunity to, chat family, go ahead and smash that like button because you guys are the most important part of this thing. And I'm hoping you guys have a blessed day. It's been Wake Up Woodward. That's right.
King of Detroit, Kyle Kirkwood.